It's really nice.
Umi's new
Stream
merch.
started.
Oh, really?
That's dope.
Fucking rules.
That's
No,
so
no
cool.
words on
Nope.
it.
Yeah, that's the hardest
Very,
style.
very cool.
It's fucking cool. Just an embroidered sitar.
Yeah.
Fucking badass.
Yeah.
I was like,
You
give
know
me
who
one.
it is.
Give
Sitar.
give me one.
Who
Please.
could it be?
Need that.
Yeah.
I have a personal quest that everyone in Baltimore should have one. So one day I could go to a party where everyone is wearing one. That's what I really want. I want everyone to have one.
Is she still in touch with Claire?
I don't know. You should ask her that. I don't know. I'm not gonna ask her that because I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna ask that, but you should ask her that.
Who's Claire?
Grimes.
Old Grimes.
Oh.
Old Grimes.
Grimes
Old.
of the infinity
Old
dollars till
Grimes.
she dies. Grimes, like the most financially responsible person in the music industry.
Yeah.
Speaking of finance in the music industry, did you read that Steve Albini won $200,000 playing poker?
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, he's like a
pretty
world
crazy.
class
He beat
poker
like
player.
700
I-
other people in
you
this
want this?
tournament. Like, I
Amazing.
mean, not directly, but like his
Yeah.
scores or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like 700 some people in the
Pretty
tournament.
wild.
Yeah.
it's. I'm glad for him.
Yeah.
I wish
Thank
he
you
had
for
like a
making
talk show
cake.
or something. Like I like Steve Albini as a
You're welcome.
dude.
We have a book
He got
club where people
almost
make cake.
You like those pieces of cake?
Right. He toes the line. He did.
For
he did-
saying
Oh,
the
there's a
N-word
hand.
in
There's
quoting some kids
Got a
from
double
Odd Future.
plate.
He almost got canceled.
Yeah, you want
okay.
the
They tried to-
support.
I mean, like, people like
Yeah.
came
One
full on
plate
at him.
flimsy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
One
Me and
plate.
like,
I
was very
mean, big black.
interesting.
Like is cancelable, but I feel like
You
he
did. Right
navigated
when
it
you were
pretty
talking
well.
about
Like
how much better Joe
like
plays
he
it.
I thought you would
wrote
think
about,
flimsy is
you know,
cute.
his relationship
I guess
with
this
like the
is not a
edgy,
vegan
like
Mhm.
noise or whatever.
Are you
all
vegan
of
now?
No.
No, I'm-
They're sour cream.
Punk scene of the '80s, and
What?
a lot of like edgy shit was like in the
Thank you
lyrics
for the
there.
cake.
But he
Yeah, no
navigated it
problem.
really well. He explained where they were coming
Pound
from.
cake
He
is
explained why he understands
pound
now
of
that
flour,
maybe wasn't the best
pound
idea,
of
but-
sugar,
I don't
pound
think
of
any of the
butter or
big
something.
black
I didn't weigh anything.
I know, but I
actual
mean,
bad
that's why
politics.
it's called a pound
Right.
cake.
Most of
Yeah,
it
that was
Ostensibly.
oh,
Yeah, that was the
exaggerated
original
lampooning
idea.
of things that are horrible.
Well, totally. That was
Culture.
the point. Mark, I'm sorry. Is this nerd vegan friendly?
No, it
But that's
yeah.
why I was asking.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
I was asking on.
Does it contain eggs or milk?
it does have eggs. in
Yeah.
it, I'm sorry.
There's
No,
sour
it
cream
looks
in it.
great. It smells really good. Thank
Butter.
you so much for bringing it.
What if they're red?
Sorry.
It's vegan butter.
Sorry, Tim.
It's all
sorry.
good. I ate a sandwich before I came here, so I'm good.
Well, this isn't a sandwich. This is cake.
It's cake. It's different. Yeah.
We're all eating cake.
I'll eat
without
cake
you, and I
tonight.
feel bad about that.
It's my birthday tomorrow.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
Sarah's making me a cake at home.
Happy
which is really
birthday.
nice. Yeah, thanks. 40.
Ooh,
40.
the big one.
Yes. Like, it's a big one. I don't know. I feel like 50's gonna feel weird. 40 still feels fine. 50's gonna be like, eh.
We're going to someone's birthday party tonight, and Kenny this morning was like, "What should I bring Molly for her birthday? $40?" And I was like, "Yeah, everyone would like that. That's a good present."
Yeah.
And he goes, "How old is she to be turning?" He was like, "Maybe I should give her $30 and tell her, oh, I thought it was your 30th birthday." And I was like, "Or 50."
Is
And
he gonna
he
do all
laughed
ones?
really hard when I said that.
He's not gonna give her 240. I mean 220s, right? It's gonna be all ones. Yes.
I don't know.
It has to be all ones. I feel
It's
like
kind
it
of a
seems,
good idea.
It seems thoughtless if it's just 220s, but
Seems
it's
Oh
like we're
no,
gonna need
it's
to
got to
take
be
that up with
all
the man.
golden dollars.
oh, that would be absolutely the
Coins.
best.
Boy, I tell
Yeah,
you,
having
in
a
a
bunch
set.
of dollar coins is a huge pain in the ass, and
Yeah.
it's a very funny gift to
That
give
is
somebody.
really funny.
but if you want it to be a real
Sunday.
present, it'll be $10 bills because those fuckers are hard to find. Nobody's got 10.
Nobody's
Wow.
got
Wow.
tens.
Tens.
It's fucking annoying.
It's true. Yeah, 10s are
They are the
rare,
least
but
common.
It's that's a practical one. Yours is conceptual.
Eating out though is now a $20 investment, so of course nobody has 10s. Like the
That's true.
weirdest meals are $20 now.
That's true.
Oh yeah, 20's kind of become
20 is the new
once you
10.
throw tip
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
20 is the like $10
It's like a
cover to get in
lunch.
a show. This is like a $20 for a snack.
Thanks, Biden.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Thanks,
Oh,
Obamacare.
thanks, Brandon. Sorry.
Thanks, Bruno.
Don't catch me.
Well, I feel like when you say it like in that tone, you have to say Brandon.
My
instead of
memetics were
Biden.
wrong.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Thanks, Hunter's dad.
Interesting.
I love Hunter.
I know. I went down a Hunter rabbit hole last night at work, and I cannot believe the shit that is just out there.
It's kind of incredible.
It is incredible. It's sort of the funniest political thing that's happened in my
I mean,
lifetime.
Well, now.
I mean,
It's very funny.
it's
It
really.
I'm
is
not
funny.
disputing that.
It's.
I'm
I
trying
think. I think a case could be made. Like it can be debated, and it's a debate that will never be settled. But Hunter Biden is a contender for that crown, I believe.
Be that as it may, that one dude gave a press conference hiding in a bush.
What?
Yeah, but
Sean Spicer, he didn't want to talk to the press, but he had to, so he hid in a bush and talked to the press from a bush.
I
But
don't
that's-
remember that. But
that's-
it
It was
sounds right.
hilarious. It was
I
like
mean,
cartoon
everything
level
he ever
ridiculous.
Did was very funny.
yeah, that's like one
Yeah.
bright spot in a field of boring, and Hunter is
I'm
nothing
gonna
but
eat
hits.
this one too.
Yes.
Hunter is all kill or no
I'm
film.
I'm definitely gonna eat more of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there's
absolutely.
no stories about Hunter
So
that aren't
good.
like.
I'm about to go out of town
Really?
for it. I
And there's
definitely am not
pictures?
taking a pancake.
It's no problem. We'll handle it.
I want a little bit for my buddy Adam.
I haven't
tonight,
kept up with
I
Hunter.
think
Otherwise,
It's
yeah,
fucking
that's
insane.
Exploits. Yeah.
One of the Rockefeller boys was with his friends filming a documentary of this cannibal tribe. And then he went missing. And he was like, oh, he got at by cannibals. But then they went back and took some pictures from of the cannibal tribe from a distance. And it turned out he joined the cannibals. One of the Rockefeller boys is just a cannibal in the South Pacific.
He's like,
That's
I've always
funny.
wanted to
Wow.
eat people, and it was the one thing they wouldn't let me do.
Yeah.
I went to college.
I
with
thought
a,
I was allowed to do anything.
I went to college with a Rockefeller.
Ooh.
And I would believe that.
You should have dated him.
No, he was really stupid.
Yeah, but that sounds like a good I mean,
think
then
he's-
you might be the most financially responsible musician or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Ryan just said.
He's some kind of like, yeah, some kind.
Is
He's,
that what you
he's
said,
involved
the
in
most
Arkansas politics.
financially
Oh, no.
responsible
as
Person
a
in the
Republican.
music industry.
person in the music industry.
Yeah. I like that. The only like I feel like more
Good cake,
gold
thank you.
goose that lays the golden egg you could get besides Elon Musk's sperm in your fertilized egg would be Violent J's sperm in your fertilized egg. That's like the other solid income stream you could like capture permanently.
You think ICP is comparable to Elon Musk?
Not
in-
comparable in like size, but in duration. Like,
Wow,
like
there's so
ICP.
many
like that
layers to
brand
this.
is going to be making money forever.
Yes, ICP will make money forever. I feel like they'll only ever make more money than they did before.
That's probably true.
I mean, they own all that shit, right? Like that's
They own it
smart. Yeah, they got their
Right.
whole label. That's the way to do it.
Well, that's like
Nobody else thought that they wanted it.
That they wanted the success.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Early on, when it was easy to buy insane
Oh,
clown
yeah,
posse
yeah, yeah.
stuff, they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like, "Why would we do that?"
Yeah. No, I mean if you're starting up a
There's
brand,
no money in insane clown posse.
Right? This is just annoying.
Every time I ever played a
Annoying
venue
things
after
never make
ICP, the staff would always be talking about ICP. They would be like, "That show is amazing."
Yeah.
And
I went on a thing weirdly recently about reading about Elvis for some reason, and there was a thing like that with Elvis where he had tried out for some band to sing in some like professional band, and the guy was like, and at the time he was driving trucks, and the guy was like, "Don't quit truck driving because you're never gonna make it as a singer," which I think is
Right.
it's always so funny.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
he's pretty good.
It's good to keep in mind like one person's objective opinion is like not always
Elvis was a good singer, I think. Yeah.
not always
In
it's
an
like-
objective
not,
way.
yeah, it's not a contentious claim.
But people are critical of artists though. You know, like dumb people are often put into the position of being critical or like fancy themselves as having like a finger on the pulse or being intelligent.
Well, yeah, people with money are not people with
Yeah.
are not people with taste. People with money and people with taste are different groups of people.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Also,
think
if it's
almost
like-
exclusively.
If it's like a professional band, they're thinking like, oh, I want like a crooner or something. I mean, not that Elvis isn't like, but
No, he didn't have
He's-
he didn't have a standard sounding
yes, that's what I
yeah.
mean.
voice for that period of time.
He wasn't looking for an artist. He was looking for a dude who wants to get paid, who knows how to sing or something.
Yeah.
like,
ICP is like the Elvis.
but they could have been.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say.
ICP
We don't even
leaves
know.
the venue cleaner than when they came.
Oh my god.
which is like I don't think any other band has ever been that.
How would they do otherwise though? You know, like that
That's the
makes
thing
total
that I'm
sense.
seeing
I
as
respect
much
them for
these
that.
days.
But their act wouldn't go.
Yeah,
you know, they wouldn't be able to
probably
tour
had
if
to
they-
battle a lot of misconceptions for a really long time.
Well, they also
So, yeah,
don't they
whatever they're doing.
spray
Probably bring,
fucking
like,
soda
exactly.
out there?
They
like,
do, and then they clean
Right,
like
like
crazy.
cleaning
They have
crew.
like a fleet of shop vacs and like little
Yeah.
clowns that like clean up the place
That would be amazing.
and like leave it better than they came because you know. And then the staff is like, we just fucking sat and watched them shop vac like at the end of the night. Like fucking, it was awesome. When this place hasn't been this clean in months.
God bless ICP.
Yeah.
That's the way to be.
And
I
they're,
support them.
they're big
Yeah.
tippers too because everyone's shelling out like $60 a hoodie. And
Right.
then like another 80 for a hockey jersey at their merch table, so they're just like rolling in fucking cash and just throwing it on like the people that are bar backing and stuff.
I think they would like throw money into the audience a lot too. They would like tape $100 bills to like beach balls or something and like throw them in the audience, and everyone's just like, "This band rules."
They don't have like
This is
a.
They
my
do
kind of
rule
music.
though.
They have like a manager who they've known since forever, and that's like the only
Yeah,
person that might be able
Yeah,
to tell them
absolutely.
like that's a bad idea taping the $100 to beach balls. There's like no, all the like they've like their entire like management staff and like support staff are all people they've known for a million years. We're like, yeah, fuck yeah, put that $100 on the beach ball. Oh man, if I was at a show and that happened, I'd flip out.
Yeah.
Did
I
anybody-
better go to the next ICP
It would
show.
be very exciting. I mean, for a while, like in the late '90s, maybe early 2000s, WWE was doing a like, if you watch the show, you might win money. Like they were just trying to give away money as a stunt to get people to watch,
It's
and
just-
it worked. Like it did pretty well. It's like Vince McMahon's gonna give away his money.
How did it work? Did you like
I think it was like
call in numbers?
yeah,
or
it would
something?
be like call-in numbers, and you would yeah. But
They had their.
They should
little-
have like a dude with
Did people
one
actually
weird
win money?
sign every night, and you have to like spot the sign and then report.
I think some people want money. I think it was kind of an organizational nightmare. Like it just didn't really make a whole lot of like.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't worth the effort that they had to. I haven't done it in a long time. So
People aren't as into money.
really,
People barely
People aren't
hear about
into
money.
money
I
these days.
barely hear about
It's
it.
just not something that people want as much anymore.
It's gone out of fashion.
Seems like money has become so so passe.
you know, what we like now is. Coin.
I get what you're. I think I understand what you're saying though. It's more like people.
You
like,
have to.
You have to
you
have
reluctantly
money.
have
And
to.
people are. I think more people are like, fucking money. I need this shit.
Well, I'm certainly kind of like, what's the least I can get away with making?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The only moral way to be.
Like, how little can I make and still live?
You know,
That's definitely where I'm at. Which
make less, think more.
turns out is very little because I just spent all my money doing this kitchen. I had a savings account. I pretty much don't anymore, which is fine because I don't need
What
very
would
much.
you need a savings account for when you have the perfect house that you would ever want to live in that is to your specific specification?
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
with the perfect floor you've ever seen in your life.
I mean, I wouldn't say that my house is perfect, but it is the only place I will ever afford to live, so I will never move.
It's great.
That's a kind of perfection.
I mean, I
It's
really
true.
like
Absolutely.
the idea that I maybe don't ever have to move again if I don't want to. It's really nice.
Well, that's how
Because
I
moving
felt.
is awful.
Yeah.
That's how I felt for a long time. I've always been a never mover. I mean, I lived at the bank for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I stay places for long periods.
Yeah.
But I've always been like, well, no, I don't have to move if I don't want to. And now I'm like, I cannot ever move. I've switched in the last year. It's Like
that's
real estate and all this shit, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? I mean, yeah, I could sell this house for like way more than I bought it for, but
Yeah.
then what?
Yeah, it would still.
What do
not-
I do then?
You probably still
that
couldn't buy
money's
a
still
house with
worthless.
that money.
Then I just say, yeah. Well, even if I could, all I would be doing was taking on more
Yeah.
debt for like the same amount of
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
focus.
There's no like you don't.
focus
It's
your
all
efforts on
lateral
maintaining
moves.
Yeah,
At,
where are you gonna do?
at best?
Are you gonna go 2
Yeah.
blocks down the street? Like, what are you gonna do?
Like, it's
ridiculous.
lateral at
No.
best.
You couldn't afford 2 blocks down the street.
No,
That's
no,
she
Guilford.
couldn't. That's
Yeah.
very
No,
true.
maybe
That's
in
also
that
true.
direction.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
But
I just
anyway.
meant, 2 blocks down the street. You know
No,
what I
it's
mean.
like there's nowhere to go. I'll be here forever.
Well, yeah.
I
the
just
only-
realized it's
yeah, the
more,
only reason
more than
I would move is
deciding,
if-
it's a realization.
if we like left Baltimore, then that would be the only reason.
But there's no.
And I
it-
don't have a reason to.
It's
do
my
that right now,
personal
so.
stance that there's no reason to leave Baltimore unless you're moving. I would only ever leave Baltimore to move to the woods or
Right.
to another country. But there's no reason to move to another American
No.
city. That's like the most insane
That's
thing you
very
could ever
true.
do.
Well, you
I-
live
very true.
There's a
here in
part of me that
Waverly.
wants to
like,
buy
I
a-
live in like a
summer
neighborhood in
camp.
Baltimore that's
Oh,
like
that'd be fun.
insane, and so like when I
I
think
could
of
run a summer
Baltimore,
camp.
it's just like I actually like recently have been like fantasizing a little bit about not living in Baltimore. And I love like especially in my 20s, my 30s, it's like fuck this city rules, this is my home. And lately like living in like more of like East Baltimore, which is really like central, but they call it East, but it's fucking east of whatever.
Yeah.
But like it has made me like this neighborhood's super like I get exactly what you're like. You're like I don't need to leave, I don't need to go. But it's like so much of Baltimore is like fucking dysfunctional in a way.
But where
that
would you
know
go?
what you're talking
Yeah,
about too.
like what's functional?
Like anywhere like and so if I was gonna move I wouldn't move within Baltimore. That doesn't make sense, right? But maybe it would
No, it
make
could.
sense. Maybe it would make
I
sense.
mean, maybe
I was up
you're-
north. I would go to
maybe,
like New York or something,
like-
like upstate or something like that.
With
for-
whose
for-
money?
Yeah.
I don't know
This
with
is not
whose
financially
money.
responsible.
No,
but,
no.
But I mean,
Now, Tim.
real estate
No,
is just
no.
like
We're talking about like in
healthcare
reality.
and
We're
you-
not talking
and,
about.
like real estate could like completely burst, you know?
Yeah.
I think it will stay artificially like this forever.
Because like
I
Black
think
Rock's
they-
buying
that's
it.
what I
Yeah.
think.
My dad said
I
the
don't-
economy has gone up and down, but like the prices of houses have only went this way.
I
throughout all
just
of,
think
like,
I
the
think
last
2008 was a
100 years.
fluke
Yeah.
of where a bunch of people made a bunch of money. Like it was like almost intentional or possibly intentional that happened.
Yeah.
And I think now everyone's making so much money, and it's like more and more money all the time. I just don't, and we've totally like decoupled finance from reality. Like it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
related
Right.
anymore.
There's no
It's
reason.
not.
So
There's no
now
reason
I,
housing prices would go down.
Yeah, I
for
just don't-
any-
I
Well,
used
it's
to
real
think-
easy to if you conspiratorially minded look at it and think, oh, this is a pointed effort to make sure that individuals don't own land.
oh yeah,
That all land is corporate owned and everybody rents because we're sick of people thinking they own things.
yeah.
Too uppity.
The whole way that the game keeps going is you've got to find income streams that are
Right.
continual that didn't exist before. That's the only way to make more money now. Is like how can you
Right.
start renting out something that people didn't pay anything for before?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a Netflix eyes every aspect of everyone's life.
Right.
Right.
Like they have the renting the iPhone thing now, right? Like you rent your like you lease your iPhone like you lease a car.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like
Well,
they-
people rent their car and then rent out their car to other people through,
Uber.
driver app people.
Yeah.
They've rented their car. They don't own their car.
There's like
all the
some-
time.
Right.
Has anyone heard about this like weird reckoning that's going to happen with the like Uber and Grubhub and like I was reading this not very scholarly talk online about how all of the like DoorDash, Uber, I'm trying to think of the other ones, Airbnb, Postmates,
yeah.
all of those things have been operating at a loss.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
none
yeah.
of them make money.
Exactly.
And so like this whole lifestyle has like developed around that stuff. Like especially I want to say in like New York City, where like you don't have a kitchen, and so everything is, and you know you don't own a car, you can't own anything in New York City. So like
Yeah.
that's become the model lifestyle, and now we're gonna have like what happens now that all those companies are like, well, we don't make money doing this, so although that shift's gonna have to shift.
It's just that it'll start becoming less and less affordable.
Yeah.
It's that, like, it'll have to be, like, it'll be, I don't know.
Food
What I
trucks.
heard is that a lot of, like, the Uber model was really predicated on the idea that we were going to have self-driving cars
Whoa.
very, like, in the very close future, and it didn't really happen as quickly as they had expected it to.
Yeah,
So-
people fail to take into account September 11th when they're thinking about self-driving cars.
Oh, it's a terrible idea. No, they're like self-driving cars are so fuck. I mean,
Well,
I
think
get assist technology and stuff, but it's not there.
Also,
it's very easy to hack.
Also-
And
Yeah,
then,
it's a
then the
huge-
terrorist is
it's a
driving
huge
your
also
car.
there's just this whole like Elon Musk layer of
Right.
reality
Yeah.
where like
The Musk layer.
well it's funny because it's
Gross.
like to bring it back to this fucking absolute twat, it's like so much of our day-to-day reality is now based on like shit Elon Musk says, which is never true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he just says
he
stuff.
just talks.
He's like, we're gonna have driverless cars, and everyone's like, oh, we're gonna have driverless cars, but
Yeah.
like nothing he says is ever true.
Yeah, he doesn't know
So
how
it's
to
like-
do that.
No, it's just like, okay, well,
He's
yeah,
the-
that's not happening.
He's like the new villain. Like it feels like like in politics, wrestling, like the old villain got like a little bit. He was saying stuff off screen that we got to fire this guy, and that was Trump. And now it's like, but we don't have our villain anymore. And I feel like Musk is being like situated to take over the Trump like role of. There are going to be people that are mad about him every day, that he just kind of spontaneously generates like outrageous content without any help. So he could be the new Trump for like, moms and dads and that watch terrestrial TV news.
It's true. They love rich
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
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 It's for sure.
Everyone's in this habit of being able to focus all of their hate on Trump, and he's like kind of gone. They're trying to keep him in the mix with January 6th.
He's still in the mix.
But
And
not
every time
enough
you turn on
that-
the radio, it's like Donald Trump has
Right.
recently said that. It's like, who gives a shit what Donald Trump said?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why is this news?
I
it's
know.
everybody
Isn't
gave
the
very
thing.
deep shit about it.
Yeah, and now they have like
Well,
a
they
hole in
still
their
should.
life.
January
No, they
6th,
still
the
are
most
into it
traumatic
though. I
event
think
of
I
my
think
life.
people who were into Trump are
It did-
still into Trump.
What's-
And I mean by into him, I mean like in both ways you can be into him.
My
Pro and against.
Those people might transfer into Elon.
My
Musk,
weirdest
dude,
Trump
pretty
experiences lately have been watching like TV or movies from the 80s and 90s and then talking about him. But it's like,
Oh, yeah.
like Madison and I are watching Northern Exposure right now. Which
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
And but there's a joke in an episode we watched last night about how Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes.
When I was a
Which is
kid,
like,
I knew who Trump was
wow.
because he was in like almost every issue of Mad Magazine.
Mhm.
There was like an ugly
Oh, yeah.
caricature of him doing something dickish.
right.
I've loved reading tabloids in the line at the grocery store. And he was him,
Oh,
yeah.
Michael Jackson, Wacko Jacko was all over those.
Wow.
Oh, Jack.
That's what they called him.
Yeah,
I know,
What
I
did they
just
call him?
forgot.
It's so good. I mean, it's not. It's
and
really
Bat
bad.
Boy, of course.
Yeah, Bad Boy. Bad Boy rules.
Bad boy.
It was a musical.
Was there?
Yes, it was.
Oh my god.
I don't.
Bad Boy the musical.
I don't care about that.
Well, you better start figuring out how to care because it's awesome.
Drawing the line.
Wait, hold on.
I don't care.
I don't want that.
Let's talk about our book,
Fine.
the Gene Wolfe Academy series, book 7.
Chapter
where
5,
Professor Gene Wolfe
Male.
teaches us how to do magic spells.
Right.
So, what are where are we?
I don't.
Did we talk
End
about
of 5, 6?
I think we said we were doing 5 and 6 today. Yeah.
like the end of 5? But
We
have we
said
talked
the end of
about?
5. Have we talked about the beginning?
Have we talked about
I think so. Oh god.
Mate.
5 is
Mayterra-
so epic.
Mayterra marble on the roof?
I don't think we've.
I
talked
don't
about
think
that.
we have talked about that.
No, because that's the very end of
It's
5. We
cool.
definitely didn't get to the end
Okay.
of 5.
And then have we talked about? We haven't talked about Silk and Usyk.
No way.
We haven't talked about.
Oh god. Is that
But
in
we,
5?
I think we've talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about mint.
Yeah,
I
Usyk
think
is
we've
fine.
definitely talked about mint,
We did talk about men,
and
but maybe not comprehensively. like, I have all these questions
Yeah,
that I don't
let's
think
do
I've
it.
answered. But maybe they did. It's been so long.
We definitely talked about Remora and.
I have the feeling we were talking about 4 and skipped into 5 and then came back to 4 kind of situation where we
Okay.
weren't like chronologically moving through 5. We had like a connected
Yeah,
thread.
I mean
that
that's
we
kind of
jumped
how we
into.
always do it. But.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I kind of thought we were in 5, but
We've talked some about that.
frankly, I
Yeah.
guess it does kind of blend together in my head.
Yeah,
I feel better. If
there's definitely like specific questions I wrote down from the beginning of 5 that I don't
Let's
think
do
I
it.
asked.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to say that if there were things people wanted to talk about in 5, we should go through it, and then
Yeah.
we can start thinking about 6 after. Once
Oh.
people feel like they have closure on 5.
I have a ton of shit wrote down, so I can just fire some stuff off.
Yeah, do it.
Why does Sphinx have yellow hair?
That's a real Robert Graves kind of question. He's always like asking some detail. I have no idea why Sphinx would have yellow hair.
It's like a. I feel like it's. I think that's probably the answer. Yellow hair is like a mane of a lion.
When a mane of a lion.
Oh man, he really planted that.
He did. It was right, real deep in there.
That's my dog, man. That guy he's always dropping something that comes back later.
Michael Bolton?
Oh no! Oh, my friend was in from out of town. You missed
Did
him.
he take off?
This is before. Yeah. I'm reading the
I thought there was like Michael Bolton knowledge that I was not privy to.
My man.
I recently
My
saw
man,
Michael Bolton. I'm
Michael
sorry about this digression. I recently saw
Is that
Michael.
That's not a Michael Bolton song.
He maybe did a
is it?
version of
He
it.
did.
He
He
does
did the
it.
version from my childhood. It's
Oh,
not originally
okay,
a Michael
okay.
Bolton version.
I was like, what?
But Michael Bolton was the co-host for Zooey Deschanel in the reboot of The Dating Game, and everything
Okay.
about the show is horrible except Michael Bolton understands that we're here to be silly and make fun of ourselves, but everybody else is just kind of like taking it seriously. And like Iggy Azalea is like, yeah, I really hope that I can get a date. I'm sick of dating famous people, and one of these 3 nobodies might be a good date. And I'd like to get a date. And nobody's being funny. There's no double entendre. It's horrible, except for Michael Bolton is like, I know what this show is.
He's probably the only
Exactly. I'm the only one who's seen this show before.
I could see somebody pitching Michael Bolton being on the show and be like, wait, hear me out. Like, have you watched Masked Singer? Have you seen Robin Thicke and how lovable Robin Thicke turns out to be on Masked Singer? Like, Michael Bolton's going to be like the old Robin Thicke. And Michael Bolton. And then, like, Michael Bolton watches some Masked Singer and, like, oh, this is fucking great. We're just going to be like goofballs the whole time. And nobody else watched Masked Singer.
I'm
So
reading the thing about Sphinx in the
Yeah.
thingy, and the last line says the Egyptian Sphinx frequently represented the pharaoh as an incarnation of the sun god Ra.
Okay, so
Also-
like rays of a sun,
Yeah.
as colored by a kindergartner.
Yes.
Well,
Unlike us adults who know that the sun is red or whatever.
well, the Egyptians had that cool picture of the Aten sun where the
What was
rays
the
of the
end of
sun
that
have
sentence?
hands on the end of them.
I think
The
the sun
sun's yellow.
It's really cool.
I know.
Yellow
I don't
sun.
get like why
Wake up,
why
wake
is
up,
this like
people.
Classification.
Well,
I
they're
just
kind
don't
of like
understand what the end of that
handing
sentence
people.
was.
Oh, they're like little handing people kind of things.
Everyone's talking and it's funny.
We're very unpracticed at this
It's true.
lately.
I'm talking about the sun.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Well, so there's an interesting parallel there. So that Sphinx is the naked woman with yellow hair, a wild-eyed fury who is not herself at all, wielding a scourge whose lashes cut and tore the gray sickness until it fled her mind.
That's what
Yes.
she meant. I wrote hell yeah next to that.
Yeah. I feel like Mayteri Mint and Sphinx relationship is like, I feel like is Wolf unspooling the positive side of Mars / Gevra, like in other parts of his books, he's been very critical of war and spoken a lot of the from a point of understanding, but spoken a lot about like the tragedy of it. And I feel like in this chapter specifically, but like constantly through the Mintz Fix thing, he's explaining why is there this archetype? Like why do we have a soldier in us? And there are certain moments where that is necessary to survival. And they're like really basic ones, like you've got to get food, and if you're starving, you have to get food no matter what. The soldier has to be there, like to just follow the order and make it happen. And then later on in the same chapter, when they're talking about the witch the nightmare witch, they're riding their horses in to like do the distraction, and she looks beside herself, who it's not very much further in this. What was her name? She like does the roll call with all the people on her team, and then she's like, "Well, most of us are gonna die, maybe all of us."
Yeah.
And they go flying in, and all this kind of weird shit happens. Where, oh yeah, King Cup, a nightmare
I was
witch.
gonna say King Cup.
Yeah, like she talks about how it's like she's calling her a nightmare witch in that moment, and I think that's like the same thing. It's like, why are there witches? Why do we have this scary thing in us, like that is just purely a villain in traditional movies or stories or whatever? But in that moment, like, there's where the witch comes from. It's like they have to fight, and you have to make a crazy suicidal charge, and so this mad woman who has power that's like not physically obvious, but that is like in action, is the witch. Like the witch in other circumstances is this scary, inappropriate, twisted thing, but it's not like a mistake. The archetype is there for this moment when a woman who is like unarmed basically has to ride a horse into a way out, outgunning her army.
The Furies,
Yeah.
the Eumenides, the goddesses of blood vengeance, who then become the goddesses who are watchdogs against corruption.
Are
The
you
righteous
saying-
Fury,
sorry.
Nemesis.
Are you saying that Nemesis, they're in the month of Nemesis. Are you saying that it's the need, it's like the action that makes the witch and not...
I guess what I'm saying is like, so from a purely secular point of view, there's like villains, like the witch, and I feel like it's especially vivid today that like villains are a result of the bad choice, or a person, or like these villainous like kind of characters are a result of like malice,
Yes.
and we can eliminate them if we all do better. But and I feel like that's a point of view that says like these things we don't like about humans are a mistake and we should correct them. And then I feel like spirituality in like the real super pagan way, but then also in Wolfe's kind of like rediscovery of the old ways kind of way, is about examining those cases of like human villainy or human weakness and trying to come to grips with the idea that they're not mistakes.
The foil is necessary. I remember being in religious education class and learning about how Judas, we can't like just condemn Judas because Judas was part of the plan. You know, like Jesus had to die, somebody had to betray him in order for that to happen. So like Judas is necessary.
Yeah.
And like that being a model for like how forgiveness can occur.
Yeah. And Judas is so bummed with himself that he hangs himself, like almost immediately. It's like he's a very sympathetic character.
Yeah.
You heard the Gospel of Judas?
Is that an apocryphal book?
Yeah, they actually it's one of the more recently like found scrolls or whatever. Like it didn't get translated until like I don't know 15 years ago or something like that. And it's very like Gnostic, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's really interesting.
All them jar scrolls turn out pretty Gnostic, it seems.
The B-sides turned
Yeah.
were really
The
really
B-sides.
more worth our time. But yeah, it's I mean a lot of it's just about like how Judas doesn't want to. Jesus is like, no, you have to do it. and it's a lot about like sloughing his like he's like this has to happen for me. Like This is all I want is to not be a human anymore, essentially. And Judas is his ticket.
This is why I love Jesus Christ Superstar. All this is in that.
I need to rewatch The Last Temptation of Christ. I don't remember.
Yeah.
How do they handle this way? I
That's-
think they do the same thing.
It's actually a kind of similar vibe.
Yeah. I think so. What a good movie.
Yeah, in religious
Really
education,
really good book, too.
In religious ed, we learned that Judas was the accountant, and that part of his whole problem was like, and they hit on this in Jesus Christ Superstar, like, this is a waste of money. You're just throwing money away left and right, and eventually he was like, you're gonna bankrupt our movement. I'm gonna turn you in.
Oh.
Oh.
He's
It's
like,
wild.
we're trying to actually do something here, and you're ruining
They
it.
told you this in church school?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That would make sense if he's an accountant, why it's really specific about the number of pieces of silver he was paid.
Mm.
Like, why would that detail be necessary unless there's a guy in the mix who is into precise numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judy. I don't want to talk about Judy.
Okay.
What else is in your notes?
So in here, in this same part, when she's looking back at King Cup, there's or right after, unseen hand snatched off her coif and plucked one flapping black sleeve. What are the unseen hands?
Oh, that makes me think of the bit where Jesus is overwhelmed by people. I just read about it. He's going through the crowd, and a woman is healed by touching the hem of his garment, and he feels like the Bible says he felt the power go out of him. And so this overwhelming thing.
Yeah. I was
feels
thinking it was
evocative.
like people were touching her.
Yeah.
And like there's just so much going on, she's not paying attention to it. All she knows is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing's happening. But it could be something else.
What did you think? Like, it seems like atmosphere to me, but I think that kind of.
Yeah,
like
that was a
reference
kinda-
there.
Well,
And
and
it
just
seems like
she's
a-
already like a symbolic. She's like already a symbol to people, so
Yeah.
people want to like touch her and like,
Mhm.
you know, she's been obviously like been divinely inspired in some way. So like all these parts of her are
Which I just,
like relics basically.
it's like Leda the Second in the Golden Path, where he keeps saying, "My skin is not my own."
Yeah.
Like she belongs. She is the crowd. She is not herself.
There is another mention of her coif at the end, before the end of this chapter, where she talks about, I guess it was Rose. No, it wasn't Rose. It's Mock Orange. She talks about this old teacher she had, Mock Orange,
Yeah. Yeah.
who beat her one time or something to teach her that she couldn't go out without her coif, and then maybe also cut her hair really short, which she's worn to this day.
Right.
And now, so this woman and there's so much, so all this stuff is so crossed. I read this again last night and was amazed by how, it continually points back at itself, because she has this big thing about discipline. She talks about discipline with Bison, and has
Yeah.
a sort of the leader, doing this inspiring army speech. And so she talks about how important discipline is. And then a little later, she has this memory of Mock Orange and thinking about her hair, and how, when she's walking around spying, I guess, she's like, I used to never have my hair out. I was afraid when this one woman, was really pissed at me and told me we can never have our hair out because somebody might be attracted to our hair. And then there's kind of a vague description, I feel like, of a very severe punishment. Involves at least her getting her hair cut, and then sort of the insinuation that that haircut's just been a scar she's had for the whole until now. So there's this mourning about discipline, but then there's also her being the champion of it in front of these professional guardsmen.
Well, it's also Mint and Silk are both undergoing these kind of they're both transforming out of being priests in this way. they've both had these theophanies or whatever, the divine like interventions, and now they kind of. I feel like there's no way to have that without knowing that the gods are like not what they thought they were.
Well, because they're becoming God. They're going through
Well, right.
apotheosis.
Exactly,
You know? Like hearing
exactly.
God makes
But
you
so-
God.
But so then it's like they're sloughing off these kind of like more empty rituals that they would always just do because they were told to do them. They're both doing that. Mint is doing that, and I think the like wig is kind of a symbol of that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's like
That's
galloping
something
on
that I
her
think-
horse. Someone has pulled off her hat for like a relic. And
It's not a hat; it's a wig.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's like a sheitel. It's like an Orthodox Jewish woman.
Okay.
I mean, I assume it's a wig because it's called a coif, which is hair.
I think.
But that's also what we call the thing that goes over a nun's, like a nun's
Oh
habit.
fuck! I've thought this
Yeah.
whole time. I've thought that it was a wig.
I don't think that's inappropriate.
Yeah,
They
it's-
serve
I
the
don't
same
think it
purpose.
changes
I
it.
think that
Yeah.
you're
It's the same
Jewish and I'm
idea.
Catholic.
The whole time, I just
Yeah.
assumed she was wearing a wig.
I think it
That's
works
awesome.
though. I
Yeah.
think it totally
Oh,
works.
sorry. Yeah,
And
I did
sometimes
not
you're-
know that because I don't know anything about nuns.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
Madison's aunt is Orthodox Jew, and she doesn't wear a wig. She wears like what's almost a nun.
Like a
Thing.
or like a
A hijab.
hijab, yeah.
But
Not-
also,
Jewish
not quite.
hijab.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. it's
I mean,
like-
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COIF is also like a medieval guys, like chain
Mhm.
head thing. So there's there's a martial, like invocation of that term as
Here,
well.
I'll do it. Come on, friend. You can come in. You can open the door.
Like,
There's
we're-
some stuff in the way.
I don't know if it's my reading or if it's Wolf's writing has ratcheted up to a place where it just seems like everything is bouncing off of everything else.
I mean, that's how we wrote it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
just mean like, was it like that? Since I feel like I've gotten better at finding all those things and paying attention line by line as we've been going along, and I feel like if I go back to the beginning now, part of me feels like maybe he got warmed up a little bit. Maybe
You
he
should read
got it
the
going.
Borsky stuff.
should.
He's able to make really weird connections.
I
to
feel
that
like
that are-
Wolf is definitely Catholic jazzing here, like real well. Like
Catholic
it's
jazzing.
improv. Like the thing is, like this doesn't seem super structured to me. This doesn't. I cannot believe that he sat down and planned out. Okay, here's where these two people talk. Here's where this person talks. He goes to this person. He meets this random character here who we'll never see again. Then he goes through this doorway and he meets this person, and then he has this conversation with this character. But he's definitely operating on a thematic level.
Yeah.
Where all of these it's like.
Structured improv.
Yeah, it's definitely structured. That's the vibe I get. It's impressive to read, but I don't personally think, I could be wrong, that he like mapped this out. Besides
in
the
the
big,
minute
besides the
detail.
big movements,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
knows
yeah.
where it's
I think I've brought up this quote at book club before, but there's Zach Hill, the drummer from Hella and Death Grips.
Yeah. I kind of remember you bringing him up.
Yeah, there's a quote in a Tim Kinsella song about a thing Zach Hill said where it's like, I'm not like people are like, how are you so good at drums? And he's like, I don't really know that I am. What I'm good at is getting out of my own way.
Mhm.
And when I first heard it, it was a physical image to me that like he doesn't mess up on drums because he's not like hitting himself in the hand, but it's like, it's not a
You've
physical.
played music before.
Right.
That's not means a thing to anyone who's ever played music before.
But when you think of, I don't know if you've seen Zach Hill, but he's like a Tasmanian devil, and
Right.
he's like playing shit that it's like moving in and out of regular, like rhythm, but always seemingly completely under his control.
Yeah.
And then it's like, the secret to that is that I don't try to control anything.
Right.
Right.
That the ecstasy.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Mhm.
Yeah. That. I mean, it's the same thing when you're acting really good, and I assume.
When you're, we talk about this exact thing all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
I feel like
you're
in
right,
this
Tim.
book
I
club
think-
it comes up like every time.
It's the zone.
And it is
Exactly.
exactly what's happening to Mint.
to me.
Yeah.
And to Wolf. I feel like Wolf's in that place too.
Exactly,
he's
exactly.
In the place.
He's in the pocket.
He is.
In the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so much of this could have been combed out. Like
Mhm.
I'm like so in the world of thinking about writing and like what goes into a story and why right now in my head, and I don't think about anything else. And when I read this, I'm just like, wow, like this just it's like so it's kind of freeform in a way. Like you meet so many different people. There's so many themes. There's so many big ideas, but it breaks so many rules. You know, in terms of like like telling a story. Like it's so much of this isn't really like storytelling. It's just kind of like meeting characters and talking about ideas and thinking about things.
Have you read the Illuminatus trilogy?
No.
So there's
It's
an interesting.
fun.
It is fun. There's an interesting thing going on in the Illuminatus trilogy. Like, it right in the beginning, the main character says, "I am everything. I'm the whole world, and right now I'm going to concentrate on this little guy." And so the whole thing is these large ideas talking to each other, and sometimes it's from this person that's passing by on the street, and sometimes the conversation is between two people who are at different points in time and space. But like, it's just coughing up all this random bits of this story that then it creates ideas that are talking to each other. And I'd be interested to see, like, I think that's a similar thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
I feel like Illuminatus is like the fried West Coast version of like new wave science fiction, like the Moorcock and stuff like happening in the 70s.
Yeah.
And but they were like the Berkeley version of that.
Yeah. That sounds cool. Yeah, it's just like ideas, you know. Like once you have like the things that are important to him, like thematically, like it's all like themes and ideas and motifs, you know, and then just like riffing within that space, you know, and that takes the forms of these like conversations and like different story, like plot threads, sort of. I mean, I guess it's plot, you know, but it's like I'm thinking about 6 kind of, and I don't mean to skip ahead, but it's just like an interesting.
We're jazz, man. We're doing
Interesting
jazz
chapter,
now.
you know, like so much of that chapter is just like like just meeting people and talking to people, and the characters are they're given names and like descriptions, you know, like he meets like Leanna at the gate, and then he meets the jeweler, and he meets like the dying augur, and like I don't know, it doesn't really like contribute to like a structural like spine of the story. That's not what it's about.
Well, they're all expressions of a god.
Right. It makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very Bible-y kind of thing too. So like in the Gospels,
Bible-y.
like the Gospels are kind of just a series of Jesus going around and doing something.
Yeah.
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 There's not really like I mean, I guess there is an arc generally because of how things go, but like I don't know, a lot of it is just like you just like went around, you met people.
Yeah.
It's just, like he did some stuff for some people. Some people gave him things. He's told this story.
I remember like everyone knows like the big Jesus stories. Like Jesus turns the water to wine, right? He turns over
That's
the
number
tax
one.
tables, you know, like
That's towards the
he
end.
like gets executed. Like but is there like a bunch of like lesser known like also like Jesus like did stuff?
Yeah,
you know,
well,
like in the stories?
all of the
Like,
Gospels are telling that it's like 4 different versions of the Jesus story.
Yeah.
And so each one has different things that happen. And there are Gospels that aren't in the Bible that have more stuff that didn't get included.
Mm.
And there are even books of like sayings of Jesus that are like these just like sort of lists of things that are presumed to have been said by Jesus. There's a lot there.
Yeah. Like I'm just curious, like if the Bible like hangs out with Jesus more, you know, like
The Bible itself, no. The 4 canonical Gospels are the only like this is what Jesus did books in the Bible. But yeah, there's a lot of other
it's a big book,
literature
so-
and then just like folk tradition.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Other stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of
He's
stuff.
a myth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like very well established stories about Jesus' youth that are not in the Bible at all.
And like the 4 canonical Gospels don't necessarily agree. Like they don't. It isn't for like we hit all these points. Like one might include this thing that isn't mentioned in the. What like he has different last words, and some of them he says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And then in one he just says, "It's finished." Like but people don't agree. The four accepted gospels don't agree on who was at the crucifixion and stuff. It's it's a
There's some
it's a
that-
mishmash.
Yeah, there's some that cover more of like his childhood.
Oh yeah, the child where he's like killing birds and bringing them back to life.
Yeah,
No,
The
he
teacher
killed a
pisses
kid.
him off, so he kills the teacher.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
like have you guys seen that? Have you guys seen that clip of like Danzig where he's talking about his library?
Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
absolutely.
He talks about that.
Essential viewing.
That's one of the funniest clips that's ever been made.
Well, the first
I love it so much.
The first-
He's just kind of smirking the whole time. He's
Yeah,
like, he's
I
like,
do a lot of reading.
don't know a lot of stuff Jesus did, you know?
the first thing that Jesus does in the
He's like-
Bible.
He's like, I
Werewolves.
think that's pretty weird. He like kills the teacher, you know? I don't know. And
The
he just, like,
first-
puts it back.
The first thing that Jesus does in
So
the
good.
Bible is he's 12 and his parents like go to the main temple and then they split, and after a while they realize Jesus isn't here, Home Alone style, and they go back and he's just like yeah, and he's just like talking to the higher ups in the temple, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, don't you know that I want to talk shop with these people in
It's
my
like, I'm in my
father's
father's
He's
house.
like he's exactly like
My dad
Danzig
owns a
in that
dealership.
moment.
It's so awesome.
So it's, yeah,
I just love how he's smirking the whole time. He's just like,
Jesus is the same way.
he's like, I don't know. It's so good. So lovable.
Good old Glenn.
So lovable.
Jesus is the same.
I think he doesn't have a shirt on in that clip too.
He reminds me exactly of Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Did you watch a new one?
I have watched most of it.
Oh, it was so
It's
good.
good. It's really
I couldn't
good.
I
believe how
haven't
good it
watched
was.
I haven't
It's
watched
really
it.
good.
Everybody's
It's-
saying it's really good.
It's
good.
It's like I was ready to like it, and it was so far beyond my expectations. I was so
Yeah, they
happy.
nail it. Yeah, they really nail it. They did a good job. They really.
There's
yeah.
like nothing
Yeah.
at all about it feels like late or forced.
No, not at all.
It's like they never stopped.
Yeah,
I'd
they
really
were
like
in
to
the
see it.
zone.
It's what it's on like Amazon, right?
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
I
I
have that.
I specifically got.
I got
it.
Amazon.
Steal everything
Yeah, I'll just.
You can steal easy.
all the time.
They made so many good
Personal
choices.
motto.
Like clearly somebody tried to foist a bunch of cameos on them, and then
Yeah.
they did the
Oh,
best thing
yeah,
they could do. They siloed them on their own section, so they don't have to do any skits with
Yeah,
famous people.
those
It's
parts are the
just them.
weakest. Actually, I wish that
Oh,
just
they're
wasn't there.
so clear. It's
Yeah.
so great, and they're so easy to just lose later
Yeah.
on when they do like the a director's
Yeah,
cut.
they better do another one. You know that they really nail it.
Very funny group of people. I like even now just like seeing them in a sitcom. Like one of them will pop up.
Yeah, and you're like,
It's
yes.
like hell yeah.
They're
Yeah.
really funny looking
Yeah.
now, and they know
Yeah,
it.
they-
Yeah, they
Yeah.
know it.
They know it.
That's like half of the
I
jokes.
don't want to spoil it because the beginning.
I
is-
want to watch it.
The beginning is so incredible. They make so many choices there. It's like
The cop sketch was pretty.
Oh.
yes, and
pretty
that's like the
nice.
first thing that
Yeah,
happens.
pretty nice.
It's so wild.
Is it like their normal cop sketch?
Nothing. I mean, it's all definitely them, but I wouldn't say that it's normal them. It's kind of like not quite as extreme, but I feel like on the same trajectory as Twin Peaks season 3 to Twin Peaks.
They don't
Oh.
reference the old characters that much here and there. Like their old characters will make like
The
cameos.
Caddyshack?
tiniest little
Yeah.
bits. They,
Yeah, like their classic characters. Like, yeah, but
You could be played by Bruce McCullough.
yeah, I love Bruce McCullough.
Bruce McCullough is like one of the most
Bruce
adorable
McCullough
people on
is
earth right now.
amazing.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's
He's
wonderful.
amazing.
He could really just do anything.
I think
and
that's a
it's funny.
compliment.
You should. He's the best one.
Yeah, he's the best one, and he was. Yeah, he's one of
it
my
is-
favorite comedians.
It's hard to argue. Or I don't know.
I mean, they're all good. They're all
so
good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
Mark McKinney is in Superstore,
yeah.
the sitcom,
Yeah.
and he, in the first episode, like he's in like every episode of it, and very early on, he made a decision to speak
in that
an
voice.
absurd,
Yeah.
high pitched, squeaky voice.
Yeah.
And he does it for like 6 seasons
He maintains
of this
the
show,
exact thing.
and it's incredible. Like he's so good. He's so funny.
It's like everyone else in that show is playing it naturalistic.
Yeah,
like
everyone else is, like,
office
yeah,
style,
real
but
normal.
he's like a cartoon character. And it doesn't. He like sticks out in that show so bad.
Yeah.
The
it's
New
really-
Kids in the Hall made me want to see him in a serious role, kind of like Michael McKean in Better Call Saul.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like seeing Mark McKinney and being like, they need to put him in
Mark
a, like
Mark
a
McKinney's the
dramatic
strongest
prestige
actor
role.
of the group. Sorry, we're totally like I just love
It's
Kid
so
Paul
good
much.
though, and I haven't talked to anyone about it.
Yeah, no, Mark McKinney is the strongest actor. Dave Foley turned into a great actor. I mean, he's always been good, but
He's always been
He's
good.
so charismatic.
Watching
his
He's
radio.
charming.
News radio.
He
Yeah.
is
News radio is
full of
great.
charm.
the DJ sketch is legendary.
Oh yeah.
It's legendary.
It's they do those great things where there's not, like the classic Kids in the Hall thing, where it's like sort of more of a short story
Right.
than a
Right.
comedy sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they can pull that off in new ways. Still, it's
Next time, add that to your homework, guys.
Oh, it's always, yeah.
it was just made it like kind of rejuvenated my hope in general, my capacity to hope.
You just need to move to Canada.
No.
I would love.
I don't think I'm gonna ever move.
I want to move to
I mean, soon we will all have to move to Canada.
Yeah, we do
Is
have
what I
to.
meant.
Canada.
Yeah.
I would go.
We
there.
have
You
no,
mean
we have
climate-wise?
choice.
Yeah.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
And,
Populate the tundra.
dental wise too, probably.
We might have to. We might have to populate the tundra.
Yeah. Start eating poutine. And,
The Yukon.
Oh, and then we can all have our own Usyk.
I could use a little
Excuse
explanation
me?
of Usyk.
What?
Usyk.
Oh man, is Usyk a great thing to look up when you're reading this?
What I don't.
Oh,
Penis
you're talking about the real.
bone.
You're talking about the real animal. Oh.
It's
penis
the
bone.
penis bone.
Then we can all
Yeah.
have our own Usyk.
Yeah, because like they're, you can find them in like up in north where there's like walruses and seals and stuff. They have them, and I guess in cultures like Eskimo-y cultures, that they find them and they become. I think also
Wait,
maybe in
Does
like
it come from a walrus?
Inuit.
it's a bunch of different animals
Oh, okay.
have them.
Yeah, like most animals have them. I
Yeah,
think.
Okay.
Some primates have them, which I feel like relates Usyk to the counselors.
Mm-hmm.
Some primates have them. I think lemurs are one that does.
I own a raccoon penis bone.
Oh whoa!
Is it spelled the same way?
Usyk,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It's like Usyk is like a specifically, I feel like a snow world name for that thing. I think the scientific term is like Western scientific term is the baculum.
Okay.
There's also
Oh.
Scott Baculum.
Well, the baculus isn't that the Pope's big old penis bone?
oh yeah, I guess
What?
I didn't
The
even
Pope's
put that
big
together.
old penis bone.
What?
There's a governor of Alaska who had like a 5-foot long one from a whale or some shit, and he would wield it like a sword.
Just gotta say, Alaska, best state. Love Alaska. Would totally move to Alaska.
Are you doing a Donald Trump thing right now?
I'm not. I've been to Alaska and I loved Alaska.
Love Alaska, beautiful state.
It is. It's amazing. There's
Beautiful
there's no
people.
roads. Everybody has to get a pilot's license.
Well, if it's anything, yeah, I mean, if it's anything like Northern Exposure, then.
And it is. I've been to that town.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome. Talkeetna. It's great. Alaska.
I always heard that Alaska is like a lot more speed and orgies than any of the Alaska media on
Yeah.
TV portrays.
Like the
Makes
weirdest people in America live in Alaska.
Yeah.
Hands down. They're the weirdest.
Yeah.
And then they have like only a couple hours of sunlight for part of the year.
Yeah.
And so
just
they
a couple hours all year.
they just drink and have sex during that part of the year. Is what I hear.
When I was taking a cruise in Alaska and we landed in this place Whittier, which was a military installation, but then the military left and they just told all the people who had grown up around the military, you can have our military base. So when it's not tourist season, it's like 100 people who live in one building together.
Wow.
And then tourists come in and it's a town. And the tourists go away and they're all like, let's go back home together.
Like if everyone except the copycat got raptured in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes it make more sense to me.
Yep.
Okay, here's another cool callback that is where we're at, or like basically, if we're moving forward. Silk looking at the blood bag, and
Yeah.
he thinks, that is that weird part. Was life such a simple
yeah.
thing that could be drained from a man as red fluid or poured into him? Would he eventually discover that he held a different life, one which longed for a wife and children in a house that he had never seen? It had not been his own blood, not his own life, surely. I feel like this is really interesting because it's like he's really literalizing an idea that is happening not literally all around him, including to him. But so it's like one of those weird things where he's like on the right track, but he's also completely wrong. And then
Well, he's just like kind of idly thinking about it, but it's
Yeah.
just really strange that he's hit directly on. But he has no way of knowing how close he is to like understanding
It's
something
fine,
really
it's fine.
important. Because
Yeah.
he has no reason to understand. He's
Wolf
just
loves
like,
that trick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the same thing. Every lie becomes true.
yeah.
And we're reading that for the first time ever, and we're like, what a silly idea! What an interesting concept. And then you go about your business
And
for 3 books.
Blood transfusion is like such a Wolfian thing too.
Totally.
Like he loves like something coming out of one person and going into another.
Oh
like,
yeah.
You know, to like keep them going.
yeah, and I
Which
feel
is also what's
especially
happening with personalities.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that. Yeah.
My personality running on somebody else's body.
yeah, I feel like there's like a like Baskin Robbins full menu of everything that resembles possession.
Yeah.
Is like somebody like we talked about this before. Like there's a head injury. There's a robot with new parts.
Mhm.
There's like these like seemingly kind of supernatural possession of of
Mucor.
chenille. Yeah, there's mucor. There's just like all these different versions of
Yeah. Plus,
Possession.
there's also like leadership and hierarchy. Like Mint possesses the people when she leads them.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that's like also a kind of possession. It's like when you command someone to do something.
This is a cyberpunk book, see?
Hierarchy in general is a possession.
See?
This is a cyberpunk.
Brandish the
see?
knife when you say.
Oh my god.
That
Don't
was
brandish the
threatening.
knife.
I mean,
Too pokey.
one of the coolest things maybe about like the greatest trick that Wolf ever pulled was that if you can go the one way into this where it's like this engineer man has a cool scientifically sound reason for why these supernatural things can happen. But then I feel like if you read Wolf enough, you get to the point where it's like it doesn't matter what technological state your society is in. These energies will manifest themselves in whatever is available.
Yeah.
And there will be an explanation in your time, but that doesn't mean that you know the truth of the universe until you know about these things that recur.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an alchemist before he's an engineer.
Yeah.
Engineering is a medium for his alchemy.
Pringles.
That's right,
Pringles.
Alchemical Pringles.
Once you pop,
The
You
parabola.
can't stop. You have
What is it?
achieved the infinite.
Parabolic something.
Hmm?
The shape.
oh.
Oh, yeah. Which is the shape of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Fucking A.
Did he decide on the shape?
No idea.
I know he came up with the machine.
It
I
might
think
be.
that-
It might naturally lend its like the machine.
think it
might
does.
not be.
Well, I think it's because
Because
he had
reality's a fractal.
he had the cylinder. I think he had to work with. They had the cylinders, and so he had to work with
So
how
the-
do we get
it's like
chips
the
in
Mitch
the
Hedberg
cylinder.
joke is real.
Well, it's not, and how do you get them in, but then also make them not break? It
Yeah.
was like had to do with structural
Right.
integrity.
Yeah, and then, like an engineer doesn't want to see a bunch of like jumbled up chips. How are you going to make sure there's the same amount in everything? Yeah, how are you going to make sure somebody doesn't get all broken crumbs? So you come up with this weird stacking chip that's more fun than flat ones.
So, I'm having a weird thing thinking about Pringles being the shape of the universe and being a whole bunch of brains
Yeah.
stacked into a bulk.
Oh
Holy
yeah.
It is
shit.
really tripping me out right now.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah. It's a good structure.
Yeah, Pringles are the multiverse.
Yeah, just a stack.
The omniverse.
Just
Yeah,
a
the omniverse.
stack.
1, 2.
Just
A
one
big
tube.
stack.
Which is the shape of the
Oh! Whoa!
Yes.
fucking. They're living in a Pringles tube.
He wrote this
Wow!
after he invented Pringles.
Yeah, he did.
What?
We hit it, you guys. We can stop now. We can quit.
I feel-
You guys,
unified
book
theory
club is done.
solved
We
it.
can quit.
I feel so
That's
bad
all
for the
there
people
is.
that watch like 5 minutes and go there and don't even talk about the book and then turn it off.
Is anyone in the chat?
Oh, I don't
Probably.
know. Yeah, I haven't looked at it.
It's
Let me see.
possible no one can even hear us.
No one will ever know.
No, they can hear.
People
us.
know. People do watch it.
Okay, so the blood thing is really funny because it's really physical, and it's like anomalously physical in Wolf's world.
Oh, Johan's in the chat.
And
Sorry.
then later on, and I believe it's the same chapter, although it might be 6, but I think it's this one. He's thinking about Musk, and he's like, would Musk even be bad if he had never worked for blood?
Right.
And would blood be bad if he never had Musk like hanging around with him? And I feel, and it's like, it's the same process at work with a dude called blood,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like the exact same thing he's thinking about with the physical blood.
Yes.
And I feel like that's one of those jazz moments where I don't think he planned that,
Right,
but I think
right.
it was like, oh, haha, look what's right there. It's that same thing I played a little longer.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I came back around. That little sweet
Oh, I didn't
lick.
expect to see you here. Like,
To a degree, I feel like the thing is never making up a new thing extraneously. Like every time
Yeah.
a new thing happens, you're like, well, how can I use what I already got to make this thing
yeah.
part of this? And then when you do that, everything just naturally starts falling together.
Yeah.
So you'll always find those little happy accidents.
Yeah. That was how I feel like Deactivated
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
exactly.
always like, okay, here's this problem. And it's like, well, assume the answer is already in what we've already written.
Mhm.
And when we find it, we'd be like, oh, wow, there couldn't be a better, I don't know how, if we would have sat here and thought up something new, it would possibly be better than the thing we didn't even realize we'd already written.
It grows organically.
So Johan had a thing about the possession, where he said he doesn't think it's possession; it's all communion or the Eucharist, taking the body and blood of something and being into yourself.
Right.
Which I mean, that's another
Possession.
version. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It is,
Yeah,
yeah,
it just
Yeah,
depends on
sure.
how you want to interpret that. Yeah.
Enthusiasmos.
He thinks about it differently, I guess. Is
I
What he's
think-
saying.
Yeah,
don't
Johan,
really think
Johan
about it.
had a lot to say about the Gospels.
I mean, communion does have more of an implication of consent than possession. I'm communing with you. I'm possessing
right,
you.
right. I didn't think about it that way. I was thinking about possession just being like something else inside of you or influencing you.
It's
It's tough. Yeah.
Like when you're inside and influencing your car, possessing your car.
In a
like,
way.
I feel like
Or being
communion is kind of a, it's like a embrace your fate situation, where like possession might be hostile or like non-consensual, but it's not like God needs permission to do what happens in communion. It's just like you saying like, I'm going with this because it's actually good.
Yeah, your communion is a celebration. It's not magic.
Yeah, it's
You're recognizing that it's happening in a big way.
it's a form
all
of
the time.
getting out of your own way, of
Yeah.
being like,
Exactly.
if I was focusing on the world, I would this would be blocked off from me. It would still be like God would still be coming to me. I would just not be seeing it because I'm looking at this other stuff. And so in communion, it's not like I'm like, all right, God, fine, come on in. It's like, oh, I can have this if I just move, where I'm looking. Or
Though this is not what Whitley Strieber said about communion, which was a series of horrible UFO encounters that he had with
Oh, the
Rachel
book communion.
Monroe's aunt.
Yes.
I was like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
Rachel
yes.
Monroe,
Now I know.
Rachel and I watched Communion, and then we went and met her aunt, and we were talking about communion, and she was like, I remember hanging out with Whitley Strieber at the time, and we realized Rachel's aunt was in the movie.
Yes.
Like, there was an actress portraying her.
Wait, so that means that they did such a good job covering up the identities of the people that her own niece didn't even know.
Well, actually, afterwards, I
She was like, "Oh, it's
because like
obvious."
names are changed or something. But afterwards, I was like, oh yeah, that woman totally is like you, and this man's like, I see what they were showing. It was really
Interesting.
strange experience because then it was like Gene Wolfe was writing my life, where everything was falling back into each other and meaning everything.
That's just how it is.
And that's how it is, folks.
Okay, so just a little bit further, this is a different kind of possession. When Silk's reading the letter given to him by Shell, or like the notice that they're gonna acknowledge the Calde, and he's like so long-winded, and before he's even gotten through it, Silk's like, Patera Remora composed this. Silk thought, as though Remora sat before him. He saw Remora's long, sallow, uplifted face, the tip of the quill just brushing his lips, as he sought for a complexity of syntax that would satisfy his insatiate longing for caution and precision. And so Remora is coming through this written word. Like he wrote this stuff down and now he himself is conjured in Silk's mind. And then even further, Silk's own narration becomes Remora-like. In the course of envisioning Remora, he ends with this like complexity of syntax that would satisfy his insatiate longing for caution and precision. That's Remora's voice, not Silk's.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess this is like Silk's main power, and what makes him so holy is that he always thinks through other people's eyes when he thinks of them.
Like the butthole surfers.
The butthole surfers?
You never notice how you look through other people's eyes. That's what the butthole surfers are trying to do in that song.
That's the struggle with trying to make sense of America's ideas about Ukraine.
Or itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lack of empathy. Yeah.
There's like there needs to be like some sort of even just like shallow demonstration that the people in power would deign to try to see it through someone else's eyes. Like that is like completely off the table right now in a way that it's not clear I don't feel
It's
like
always been off the table, I think.
yeah, and I'm not convinced that like they maybe necessarily know that they're not doing that.
Well, the trick.
Well, it's all about projecting an image. The thing is, like, it doesn't matter what anyone else. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It's just about projecting an image.
Well, it's all about what other people. It's all that they think that. Right. It's only what other people think.
But I mean, but in the sense that you are creating what they think.
Right.
Like it's not what they independently think doesn't matter. Like
It's what's your goal for them to think.
exactly.
But it becomes when it works, it's because you actively have to create this image in other people's minds that is working even though it's not, and that hamstrings what's really going on enough that it can't go off the wires. But now everybody accepts that's the image isn't what's happening. So the image is fallen away. So the evil thing the image is supposed to be hiding is running away unfettered. I don't remember why I started talking about that.
It's okay.
Thank you. I think I was responding to it doesn't matter what people think.
Oh yeah, which is still true even in the latter thing, the end of what you said. Like it just that never, like I think we've gotten to the point where it's all just about raw power or whatever, and it doesn't literally matter what anyone thinks ever.
Yeah, there's no grift anymore. They're not trying to hide what they're. Everybody just accepts that we're gonna get fucked.
We were talking about something yesterday. Oh fuck, I forget what we were talking about. 99 and I were talking about something. And it was like, I don't remember it. Oh, fuck, I don't remember what it was about. It was some kind of political thing. And it was like, oh, fuck, never mind. I'm going to have to remember it later. I mean, the point that I came around to was like, it's something about if you care about it or not. But then it's also like if whether you care or not, like who cares if you care? Like we've gotten to a point where, I think we were talking about rich people in space.
Uh-huh.
He was just like, what do you think about rich people in like Mars or whatever? And I was like, I don't fucking care about it. But even if I cared, who cares if I care? Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about anything. I don't know if it took me a long time to say that, and I didn't really say anything. But it's just like it just doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything practically, whether people care about what's happening in a certain place or not.
Well, it's important
Or
to be able
whether
to
people-
separate. I mean, it's important to have things to care about.
Oh yeah, but I mean the things that you're supposed to care about
Right.
are like basically meaningless.
Well, it's all astrology. You know, like
I mean, I could be convinced. Of
so
that.
now Elon Musk is up in the sky. You know, it's like that can have significance in how I want to interpret it in my life. But if I don't,
He's a
it doesn't
celestial
matter.
body.
Yeah.
Ugh, don't give him that much credit.
Like
You're
you can.
saying he's a celestial body.
He's a celestial buddy.
There's a certain amount.
That was very good.
I won't give him that either. Somebody else gets to be a celestial buddy.
Woo.
Woo?
Woo is Swedgen's celestial.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Who's that?
From Deadwood.
Deadwood.
Oh.
Celestial is a slur used in Deadwood. But but there's management of people's anxiety, and like I get that a certain amount of anxiety is necessary, but like too much, there is such a thing as too much anxiety, where like people are going to start not behaving correctly with the incentives that you're offering them
I think that
because they're too anxious.
I think that there's a great experiment going on right now to test that.
How much cognitive dissonance can they take?
Yeah, I think that the same way that they figured out that maybe they can profit off of infinite inflation, they've also found a way to profit off of infinite anxiety.
They're playing chicken though.
Exactly, totally. But they think that they think that the fall's going to happen after they've
Right, because they're
all moved on. To
I
Mars.
see. Yeah.
But I would think like you've got as much resources as you want, and you also have the highest stakes in the world. Why aren't there better lies? Why isn't like you?
Because it doesn't matter. That's
Yeah.
my point.
But it, like
Because now they're only lying to themselves.
but it kind of does matter because you could
Does
have
it?
an easier like
Because
you could have it even easier.
it doesn't
to just
matter.
lie.
It doesn't matter. It's not hard.
They're trying
It's
to
not
leave the
hard
planet.
now.
They don't need it easier. They need as much turmoil here as possible to propel them outward.
I
They
guess
need
that-
I
an
don't think
orgasm to
it's
get the
not-
sperm out of
It's not. It's also just not easy.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's
They're so
nothing
removed.
difficult
Makes
about
it doesn't.
about setting up a scenario of like energy extraction from poor people into rich people, which was what we're talking about. Like,
yeah.
wealth being a symbol of energy, but like you're taking wealth and actual energy, human
psychic
energy in all its forms,
Mm-hmm.
extracting it upwards. It's like entropy or something. It's like it doesn't even like it's just set up this way. This is like the way we've set it up, and I don't even like know what could stop that process. It doesn't even like
The end of it.
right. Oh,
That'll do
there's
it.
some really weird, like, sort of political cult thing that Christian was reading about called Posadism. Do you know about this?
I think I've heard of it.
They were like an offshoot of. It was like some kind of weird. I think they were Trotskyist or something, but it was like it became this cult around this one guy. I don't, which is the basis of the group is around his name. I barely know about this, but I'm just going to tell you the things that I can remember. But the basic like thing was around being pro-nuclear war because capitalism wouldn't be able to survive like a nuclear holocaust, basically, and communism would.
Right.
So like the real way to achieve global communism and like destroy capitalism
like a
is just
form of acceleration,
nuclear
isn't it?
war.
They're
Yeah,
probably
it's like
right.
Yeah,
Kill
well, that's kind of
everyone
what
now.
I was like, well, that's plausible.
Yeah.
But so they were kind of like their whole thing was like, we're gonna work towards nuclear war. But then there's also all these other like kind of bizarre like extra elements of having to do with like trying to communicate with dolphins because something about communicating with the
Seems complicated.
animal kingdom. And then
I'm
and
into
then
this.
there was some kind of somebody had a theory that Gene Roddenberry was like subscribed to this worldview,
Okay.
and that Star Trek was like is basically based in this like
That's his utopia. That's
Thing.
his communist utopia.
That is kind of how
yeah,
it works.
and then
in Star
right,
Trek.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also on the Enterprise, there's the cetacean unit or whatever. There are like dolphins and whales on the
Yeah.
Enterprise.
Right.
I don't know. I
That's
I don't
cool.
know not side, but that's something that I learned about recently. Very cursorily learned about.
There have
It's a
been a
good thing to
number
learn
of
about.
leftist political cults.
What did they do
Kind of interesting.
to accelerate?
Oh,
to
I don't. I mean, this is
nuclear
like
war?
basically
Like,
what I
were
just
their
said was
actions?
basically as much as I know.
Like,
Christian, we were at this.
They talk and
when
they
we were
write
in
about
New
it.
York, we met this other band that we played 2 nights with, who we are kind of like in a band romance with right now. And one of the dudes in the band has this bookstore. Well, it's kind of like a weird leftist community space that's funded by selling books and records. So it's like a bookstore, record store called The Pit. Property is theft, which is cool. But Christian bought this like weird ass book there it's like some sci-fi book that is somehow relates to that, and that's how we learned about it. But the only reason I know, Christian was like reading off the Wikipedia in the car, and this is what I remember from that. So it's through some translation.
I
love
feel
the
like if you
Wikipedia.
name your bookstore the Pit, you are asking for it like once a day, someone to come in and be like, "Get in the pit and try to love someone." That's the guy who works there.
It's you. It's you.
They should hire you. To say that-
any more books since yesterday?
Should be the guy, who greets you when you come into the store.
I wait for a while to see if you're gonna say it, and then if that's not what you're saying, I interrupt you with, "Get in the pit right there."
I did think of the pit when she said it. So
No, maybe you
I could
start
be
playing
that guy,
Ba
too.
anytime somebody enters the door, and then you're like, you don't mention any of it until it gets to that lyric, and then you yell it at them.
It does have dots.
Right.
P-I-T. On the side.
okay, that changed.
Getting the
some.
PIT and trying to love someone.
It's P-I-T, really.
PIT. The PIT.
The P-I-T.
Pity.
Pity. Anyway. Recommend going there. It's
Sounds
cool.
cool. Sounds cool.
Where is
Place in Brooklyn.
Of course.
New York?
Brooklyn, New York.
Not Brooklyn, Maryland.
I like the world that passes.
Where does it talk about that?
He says, "This world, the world that passes," meaning like, when Silk's saying it, he mean, instead, for such are the exactions of this sad world, the world that passes. My duty to you requires that I forewarn you without delay against the baseless pretext of violence. So it's Remora.
It's in the letter?
Yeah, it's Remora saying like, I wish that I could talk about this more, but I can't because I gotta be in this sad world, the world that passes. I have to do this really quickly. Like things aren't ideal in this world. The world that passes being like the disappointing
The
material
living
world in
world,
which
yeah.
time goes on and things die and it doesn't
Yeah.
conform to our schedule. But also, it's the world that passes physically through space.
It just made me think of like Short Sun, where the world is just like a celestial body
Right, yeah.
that you can see in the night sky.
They're making a passage between the original planet and the colony. It's called a passage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then my next thing is about example of Silk and Mint. So I think Silk and Mint are both being amazing leaders, and there's like echoes happening with stuff that's happening with them, and so when Silk says, "Do what you think right, you will anyway," I feel certain to Patera Shell. He's like, I feel like that's like a peak good leader moment where, like, rather than trying to control Shell's behavior, Silk, through just naturally doing what he does, has inspired Shell to like fervently want to do things that are going to help, and he's coming up with things on his own, and Silk is like, you know, like getting
Yeah.
out of his way.
Yeah, it's like every contemporary manager who's like, I'm not a micromanager, okay? I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Proceeds to do that. but-
Mint does the same thing to Bison.
Yep. She says, "You're right. You always are."
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, and that's both in this chapter. It's,
She's mad horny though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real.
Oh yeah. Seriously.
She's still good at delegating.
I know,
Still.
but there's multiple things going on.
She
there.
like
Yeah.
he's displayed nothing of importance at this point, and she's like, "You're my second in command." And
Well,
you're
she
in
also,
charge
yeah,
now.
she knows how to delegate. She knows like who to. I mean, he obviously is also good. Yeah, but that's why she's horny for him too.
Yeah.
Mars and Venus. And then there's love and there's steel and love.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two things are like they're always coming together. One of them's always sniffing around trying to see what the other one's doing.
We're
Fit
under
around.
attack.
Like war and love
Yeah,
seem
we're
like
in the
opposites,
end of
and
this
yet
dump.
sometimes the only reason to go to war or to do the soldier things, become that person who just like gets the job done without asking questions, is because you want to get love. Like the people will become decisive when they have a specific person they're in love with and they're trying to get it going.
I guess
Get in the
everybody,
pit and try to love someone.
Yes.
everybody who is going to war thinks they're doing so for love, no matter what side that they're on. They're like, and that they talked about this here when there's like a ceasefire or something, and Silk is like, if you fought in this war, it means you fought for Byron, no matter what side you were on. So now we're fine. It's Byron, so no one has to fight.
Oh my God! What if someone went and said that to America? And just like, okay, look, you both were fighting for what the same thing that you thought. So we have that in common. They would get dragged on Twitter all day. if
It
they
would
said
not.
that.
It would not work out.
The
It
The
would
blue
not work
checks
out.
would go.
No, it would be the other way, because the blue checks would say that.
I don't think the blue checks do say that though. The blue checks are always doubling
No.
down on like this is unacceptable.
The blue checks, no matter what, are saying the thing that's getting dumped down. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It
that's
is what it is.
what has to happen to them.
Well,
That's their
nobody told them to have like 50,000 followers or whatever.
No.
No one told them to do that.
We
No
have like
one.
a huge problem top to bottom. I was trying to figure out what happened. Why did kids start Googling me at school this year? It never happened before. No.
We have
They
a
Google
top-down
you?
problem.
And now this year I was Googled and apparently it was like
I've been Googled.
it was like interesting enough to be like a arc for the whole year. That like I did my best to not participate in, but like by the end was like I just had to completely ignore kids that were talking like this far away, trying to get me to react. But it was weird because it was like this has never been like a thing, like, and it doesn't make sense that it's a thing. And it's like, well, because they were all home during the pandemic, they got two online. But I think that there's another thing going on.
Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I did. But I'm trying to think of what was the important thing to relate it to though. What were we just talking about before I started reliving this weird school thing that happened this
Blue
week?
checks and the
Oh yeah,
sides.
the blue. Yeah. No, it's gone.
Do the
You
kids
see-
have blue checks?
No. Unlikely. Have you seen the thing where Jerry Saltz doesn't know how to make coffee?
Yeah, I did see that. I really like.
So good.
I like that.
What?
Oh,
so
it's
just speaking of dunking
awful.
on blue checks,
Been
Jerry
going on
Saltz
for, like,
is
10 years.
the art critic
I
for
know
the
who
New
he is.
Yorker.
I
Yeah,
know
he
who
is.
he is.
And he does not know how to make coffee. And I guess at the beginning of the pandemic was like just
No,
going
this,
to the
this started before. He's been doing
Oh.
this for like his whole life.
So he just goes to the gas station and buys like 18 gas station coffees and then keeps them in his refrigerator.
Well, no, okay, you're right. The pandemic started that, but he only got coffee from like 7-Eleven and stuff, and people would be like,
what are you doing?
Just get a
Just
coffee
make
maker. Just make good coffee. And because I guess he would complain about it and stuff, but he would do shit like always.
He would only ever buy 7-Eleven coffee, and then he'd be like, "This coffee
But
sucks."
he would also.
That is a way to live your life.
But then
Yeah.
he
It's
was
a very
like.
Jerry Saltz
He would be
fucking
like, but
thing
it's
to do, too, so-
eco-friendly because I'm using the same cup. I've been using the same cup for like months.
Oh my god.
Like
he brings the same cup back.
not like a paper cup,
Yeah.
not a house cup, a paper.
Yeah, that's
Cup.
That's eccentric.
That's not.
It's
But
eccentric.
when you make coffee at home, you use your coffee mug.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
in the okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you probably
Yeah.
understand it
Okay.
more than I
So
do.
he-
I just I've
So
watched.
at the beginning of the pandemic, he was like, to limit the amount of time I go to pick up coffee, I'll get my coffee for the whole week and keep it in the fridge and then reheat it because he doesn't want to drink iced coffee.
It's like
something,
some
and
Howard
then-
Hughes craziness.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he was,
but
yeah, so he was
he-
buying like 18 cups of coffee and keeping them all in his refrigerator.
The word I would use is unhinged.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is fully
100%.
insane.
Like Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then but then
Um,
people on the internet were like, Jerry, you could just like giving him tips. Like, here's what you should get. You should make coffee this way. And he's trying and still just completely fucking up. He's like, internet,
trying
teach
to
me how to
make-
make coffee. It's
Yeah.
like, why didn't you just read the directions
So
for the
he-
coffee maker you got?
So he poured.
It takes like a step.
He
yeah,
poured
there's
the,
nothing.
Yeah,
What
but
he
That's
did.
at a
nothing.
certain age, you don't learn new things.
What
Yeah,
he
he's
did
like
is he
in his
poured
seventies.
If
the
you're,
carafe.
if you're him, I guess.
It was like a
If
drip
you're
coffee maker, like a
successful.
Mr. Coffee.
Right.
And he poured the water, instead of putting it into the reservoir, he poured it directly over the grounds in the little place where like the hot water gets
Yeah.
piped into, and then it went all over the floor. And he was like, I can't see, this coffee maker's too hard to use, so I got coffee all over the place. I'm going right back to the store. But now he like uses a doubled big gulp, two big gulp cups. Old like 18-month-old big gulp. No, they were big gulp cups. He said that I bought in 2013
Jesus Christ.
with a metal
Psycho.
straw.
What a mad lad.
Absolute
He's
madness.
psychotic.
Oh, but he said, like, nobody told me how to use the machine. No one told me I had to put it into the empty water reservoir. And people were like, I don't know, man, maybe the instructions for the machine may have
nobody,
said so.
nobody on the internet just told me how to use this coffee machine I bought.
Does he not know
what's
any
wrong with you?
human person?
No,
Also-
apparently not.
He has
really
an
might
assistant.
not.
We were watching
Assistants
the
know
Calde.
things
But
like
the
that for people. I
assistant
used to know
could-
things like that
But
for
the
Stu.
assistant could
Could
if-
do it. Yeah.
He's at
Assistants
least,
can't say things to the people.
No,
that are
he's
assistant.
at least pretending
Yes,
that
he's
he
pretending.
wants to know, though.
Yes.
So he
Right.
could.
Oh no, he's
he-
shutting people up. He doesn't want to know shit. He's gonna get it, prove that it doesn't work. Fuck you, I'm doing the stupid thing that I want because I'm smarter than you who can figure things out.
Interesting.
It's the weirdest fucking thing in the whole world.
It's
That's why I
so
brought
weird.
this shit up. It's the collapse of the blue check model. Is that like the blue check people? I feel like are like a lot of people like art critics, but you know the professors and the
Yeah,
university
right,
people are
right.
big contingent, and then the media careerists, and those people I think all operated with when they got online. It was a principle that if you're really good, a lot of people are going to pay attention to you, and then it moved very quickly to if a lot of people are paying attention to you, you're really good, and
Right.
there was like no like reflection about fame or about scaling up in people's awareness of you and stuff. It was all
You don't
just
pay
seen
your
as
dues.
this is a reward. This is like a reward and a confirmation that I'm good. And it's created a horrible situation online where like those people are fighting each other viciously every single day. Like people are there's always somebody getting dragged, there's like somebody getting humiliated, there's like people trying to destroy each other. And I think it hit the point with the kids at school or now there's just no like everything is geared towards get famous, get big. And they're finally, I think, getting to the point where they're like, but why? What was, like, look at how horrible all these people are.
That's been bubbling up for a bit now. I remember in 2014 reading a thing about like parents wondering when they should let their kids get Facebook, and then people going and talking to the kids and being like, I don't want Facebook. That's what my parents are all about.
Yeah.
Putting themselves out there and people seeing them. I want Snapchat, which disappears in a couple
Yeah.
of minutes. I don't want people knowing about me.
The kids now, I feel like, have multiple Instagram accounts, including a kind of like
Finstas.
front. Yeah, there's like a front-facing one.
Yeah.
Which is for like family members, and then
Uh-huh.
there's like multiple other ones that are just for friends that are like
Different levels.
Yeah, and then like this one's just all my art. This one's just all my art with my original characters that are like certain people can't know about. Like
That's cool.
They've
They're
got-
superheroes creating secret identities.
Yeah.
Which are shattered aspects of themselves, like
Yeah,
the
you
gods are
better
aspect
fucking.
of
They
the
better
one.
fucking watch with that shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna shatter their fucking identities.
But
into
it's
a bunch
so
of little
much.
pieces.
But everyone's identities are shattered into
They
a
are.
bunch
Yeah.
of
I
little
know.
pieces. But it's
Right,
so
but
much.
now they have
but
like
it's-
there's
I
not-
just
external
feel-
avatars.
I,
that
yeah, I
create
just
identity.
feel like
Like
it's
a
so much
totem for
easier
that.
to have like the version of myself that's in book club, and then the version of myself that's like in this other group of friends, and then the version
But you have
of
to
myself.
define everything now. Everything has to be.
It's just
Yeah.
so much
defined.
easier to just do that IRL. I
it-
feel
no,
like
it-
this is like
It's
adding
literally
work. It's just
easier
work.
when you create a dossier for the self you are in book club, like, and externalize it. That's when like things start to go haywire.
Yeah.
That's
It's
when you start
insane.
thinking
I
like,
would-
oh, I am a
There's
different
no,
person.
there's nothing I would want less than to do that. Like
Yeah, that's
there's
admirable.
nothing I hate more. There's like literally nothing I personally hate more than feeling like I've been defined.
Mhm.
I hate that. It's my least
Yeah.
favorite thing in the whole world. Is like if someone's like, "You're like this," I'm like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, they don't know.
Absolutely.
You don't know me. Like
You know
I'm,
my
family.
I'm not like that.
The thing about that for me is that I feel like whenever somebody
Even
says
if it's
you're
a-
like this, they're saying you're like me. And it's always in such randomly weird different ways. And I'm like, oh, I am every woman. I'm everybody. This is great.
I'm every woman. I like that we went from when a man loves a woman to I'm because that's like a very nice cohesion to me.
But it's kind of cool too to have the all like this kind of like fractalizing of like social media stuff. Like I'm not saying social media is good or admirable to do, but it is like just an extension of people, and to kind of like get this thing like people aren't just one thing, you know.
No.
Like it's good to try.
Yeah, but also,
try to be,
but
But it should
but,
be
but
fluid.
my, but
You
my
shouldn't-
point, no, but
you
that
shouldn't
my
like
point,
make
yeah.
little cups.
Yeah,
and
well,
put the fluid in different
But
cups that never
also,
touch.
but also,
I mean, I don't
my
know.
point that I no, but also, yes, and what I'm trying to say
What is this?
is
An
that-
improv club?
that each of those little things should not be so
Right.
stable.
It
like
should be
all of the little,
Yeah,
all of
it
the
should
little
be when
things
you
should be
have-
also moving all
when
the
you
time.
have a
Right.
thing of like aquarium and you have liquids of different densities
Yeah.
of different colors flowing around each other, and there's a little guy,
like
there's
it.
a little figurine of a guy on a surfboard who's in there
Yes,
I-
exactly what I'm talking about, Jordan. Thank you very much. That is groovy.
This is where the powers of light stop being the good guys and become the bad guys. Light illuminates
too.
things.
Yeah.
It
You need the yin
splits
yang.
them
You need the
all
dark
up
too.
into various
He's just
pieces.
chilling out
Light
there.
is dissecting
Yeah.
the world, and if you don't put it back together, you just have a bloody mass of dissected
Yeah,
world.
you need the yin yang.
Yeah.
And there's been a vibe shift.
Yeah, the yin
The
yang is
kids-
not,
Yeah,
it's not
exactly,
two
exactly.
stripes.
The like
Yeah.
cohort above these kids that are like juniors now, the cohort above them did the really hard identities thing, and it's not working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
And the
good.
younger kids are like, I'm not going that way. That looks miserable.
Yeah.
And so for the first time, like Googling, like before you Google me or you hear something and it doesn't matter because the peak of the peak fame has passed, and it's like a part of an era that's like doesn't really exist anymore. But now the vibe shift has made it such that like actively avoiding fame and seeming to care about other things is like maybe another option.
Like kind of like how Kate Bush is like blowing up right now.
Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, who probably sampled Kate Bush the best in the last 20 years? Ryan Kidwell. I don't.
Not Big
sure.
Boy.
Sure.
No, that track where I
didn't know.
I sampled "Hounds of Love" is the best. I mean,
I'll listen to it.
I haven't listened to every song, but I don't think there's any other ones that sample Kate Bush.
We used to drive around and listen to your Steely Dan remixes when I was in the NX. We'd just listen to that shit over and over again.
The Steely Dan is like Gene Wolfe. There's like layers, you know.
Yeah.
It's rich, subtext. But yeah, so I feel like the kids are a good barometer of like a definite vibe shift.
I
So,
do-
so you're
I
saying
do-
the kids are excited because you aren't famous and aren't trying to be anymore?
Well, it was never interesting to high school kids, and then suddenly, for some reason, this year I was, and I my only way to guess is that there's been so much of what's like the monocultural model that's been pushed on them is clearly not working, that they're just sort of interested in things that aren't that. That they're like that their interest is piqued by something that doesn't follow the like diagram or the formula, because they don't want to go where the formula is, or they like don't see it working out for people. So it's like, well, what the fuck else do we do? There's no like obvious alternative anymore.
Can I ask you this practical question? How do you know the age of the people Googling you?
I'm
curious.
I just know. So the thing that happened is that like kids at the school started saying stuff that made me think, okay, where's
Like
this?
kids you know.
Where's this coming from? And then I had to, it took a while, and then I got a friend request on my Switch from the name of a kid who renamed themselves. And it was like no doubt, like that's that kid from school is befriending me on Switch. How are they doing that? Because you can't search for people on Switch. You have to manually type in their code.
Weird.
The only way they could, my Twitter's protected and I haven't used it in like 2 years. And so the only way they could have got that code is on my Tumblr. Because somebody asked me for my Switch code and I put a picture of it on my Tumblr. So if this kid had my Tumblr, that meant, and it wasn't like recent, either they've been following it since like the beginning of the year and I didn't realize it, or they went back through it far enough to find the Switch code. So then I realized some of the anonymous questions I was getting on my Tumblr might be coming from these kids. And then there was one of them that was like so filthy. It's like, I know exactly who that is. That only, like, there's no way that there's another person who has stumbled into my world that talks like this, except for that one kid in the class. The super foul-mouthed NB from painting and drawing juniors. So then I was like, well, this is fucking weird. Like, this is a thing I've never
They
had to worry
found
about.
you.
I
Yeah.
think they do that to everything. though. I think that's just how
Now we
there
need them
are
to
some
find
kids.
WOLFE PACK.
But it was like,
They have.
Zoomers need
They-
to make
they
WOLFE.
have.
Not the
No,
Zoomers.
no,
If
no.
they're finding his Tumblr, they've also found this.
Maybe.
I don't
This
know.
is probably not very interesting. to
No,
them.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like TikTok people. Like, they're not going to get through.
Like, I
one
ain't
of
watching
these
this.
I don't think that they've consumed every episode, but I think they're aware of this.
I don't know. I feel like one of the smartest things I think we ever did was to have the quality kind of go up, but
Bad
then
in the
get worse and
beginning.
worse and worse and worse. Like
I don't know what you're talking about.
technical quality, not the quality of the discussion. That's obviously gotten better mostly, but technically, like at no
Don't
point.
tell us if anyone's watching. Don't
Like,
tell
look
us your
at the
opinion
fucking
about that.
lighting. Like, and
Don't
who
share
knows
your
what they can
opinion.
even
No,
hear.
this looks cool.
In the
Lovely
comments.
natural.
Yeah, but
No,
you
this
can't
looks
see
cool.
people's
Like,
lips
barely
moving.
lit.
Yeah, they can.
It's just like very light.
You
I have
can't-
big lips.
You can't because you're sitting 10 feet away from a 13-inch laptop.
But
With a
I don't think-
6-inch screen
I mean-
set inside.
okay, but so you saying this looks
Numbers.
okay? It's just sitting still. Like no other video on YouTube looks like this,
Right.
except ones that are made by like old
Look at
motherfuckers
all
that don't
these
give a
nice
shit.
plants.
That's right. We're doing it for the old motherfuckers.
That's right.
Old
But you're
Yeah,
judging
old
this on its
people.
own. It's the way that other people judge it is compared to every other thing on YouTube that's like 1 second and a tiny motion away. You know, where people are like actively trying to coddle the viewer into having like a fun experience.
Right.
Think
Like, we
of-
would have
Yeah,
like
we're definitely
an
not
an
trying to
opening
get
and-
anybody.
No, we're not
no
even
one's
ta-
coddled.
I mean,
We would have, like,
Johan is here and
headphones
we
like,
haven't, you know,
microphones in front of us, and there'd be
Poor
like lighting.
Johan.
And the cameras would like switch between who was talking.
Look, we'll do a good job
We don't do
when
any of
we start over again.
We're
Exactly.
offering a more
Right, round
voyeuristic
two.
We'll have
Yes.
spirit.
This is
Round
the rough.
two will
This is the rough
Round
draft.
two.
we'll
is
have
gonna
like
be like
all
a-
it'll be
yeah.
like VR and you can be sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
Or
It's gonna be
That's
good.
what we should do.
or
Have a
we
little yoga
continue,
projection.
we steer into it and just
So-
continue to get worse until it's like we're just recording it on a micro cassette recorder and then uploading it with a static image.
Oh
Like,
god.
No, don't upload it. You bury it somewhere in a field in a
Yeah.
jar, so that future
Now there
generations
is
can
a
find
3-hour
it.
podcast that just has a picture of a puppet for the image on YouTube that
Freddie.
I listen to. Right.
Hi, baby.
There are those out there. I don't think that it's the children that are doing that though. It's all men my age.
yeah.
Yeah.
But a few years ago,
Sniff my hand.
even like two, and even this
Even
year,
two?
even two, but also even this year in a lot of milieus, like the idea of why
Sorry,
would
I
you
can't
even
stop.
put a thing on YouTube that didn't have proper lighting, that didn't like have a coherent thing for a viewer to always be interested in, and didn't attempt to be likable.
we don't
that-
gotta attempt.
That made no sense. It's starting to make sense because everyone who's going for success is so miserable. The blue
Yeah,
checks being
It's true. Doing a good job at this YouTube show would require so much more work.
and it
I'm
would
just not.
We're already doing all the work we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all it would
It's
mean
fine.
would be more annoying people that we would like that aren't interested in other things that we're interested in, that would be trying to influence what we were doing.
What the fuck happened to this?
It froze.
No, it didn't.
That's called a prolapse.
I forgot there was a case of them in the car, and I forgot, and it was like the hottest day of the year so far.
Ooh,
And they
expansion.
a couple of them actually did explode, and the rest of them just looked like that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Want to drink it?
freaky.
you can drink it. I mean, it's still normal
No.
inside.
It scares me a little bit.
You don't know
It's totally fine. No, it is.
It's
I've
not
drank
even a liquid
'cause
anymore.
we-
There's a little guy in there.
No, we drank the rest of
And
them
he's like,
that looked like that, and they were all
I'm
fine.
the seltzer
What's gonna
leprechaun.
happen? It's just water. I mean, I'll drink it. It's fine.
He's Fred. Freddie.
He's a good boy. He's very good. He's a very good boy.
Now, do you have the dust jacket for this, Mark?
I do.
He's
Is it
not gonna
beautiful?
bring that out of the house.
What?
He's
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
bring-
No, those jackets do.
Yeah,
not
who
stay on
suggested
long.
that he should? I just wanted to know if he had it.
I think something bit me.
Freddie.
It
Was it
wasn't
Jesse?
Freddy.
I know. I was.
What does it look like on your hand? Bit you on
I
your
just
hand?
feel like a bug. Not. I
Oh,
feel
a
the
bug.
after of a bug's bite, not the
Itchy?
bite itself.
Like
yeah.
a mosquito.
Like a sudden,
He
very
feels
localized
relief.
itch.
a mosquito.
Yeah. I want to scratch really hard. So now I'm at Marble on the roof.
Marbs.
Arms on the roof.
And this is
Marbs.
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 this is where we're introduced to the fires problem. Which like for for this chapter for a while this chapter is like kind of the biggest deal. They have to stop the fires.
They have to stop the
Didn't
fire.
she see the airship too?
What?
Airship?
She does see the airship below. She doesn't know what it is. And
Toot toot.
we don't know what it is either at this point. But
Well, I do because I've read it before,
right.
and
but-
it's rewarding.
It's very cool.
Yeah, because I definitely the first time I read it had no fucking idea that this was a big deal thing coming out of the
Didn't
sky.
even register. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, whatever,
Mhm.
and just continued on.
Something's in the sky. Yeah, and then you forget about it. But Marbles. So Marble's like kind of firing on all cylinders right here. She's so happy. She's like, I'm gonna go look in here. I'm gonna move myself to the bigger room. Oh, these hands are so great. You know, I'm gonna oil that motherfucking step that we haven't used in forever. Why aren't I using this? I'm gonna oil it today. And she goes out on the roof. She sees the weird thing. She thinks about the fires. I feel like her attitude about the big thing that she can't tell what it is that's in the sky that's like ominous but indistinct. Whatever it might be, there was no way for her to stop it. It would come or it would not, and she had work to do as she always did. The healthiest possible attitude about the airship coming to get you.
I mean, it's the only thing you can do at this point, right?
And it's like, if you don't do that, you end up getting in your own way.
It's kind of an opinion that I feel I hold that is controversial in regards to climate change.
Go on.
Climate change is fucking happening. And buying green products and stuff like that is only making it happen faster. We should stop fooling ourselves that there's something we can do to stop climate change, and we should start figuring out how to live with the climate change that is definitely happening already.
I mean, it's
And I
like,
think that science has finally caught up with me. I think that's not going to be a controversial opinion in another couple of years, because I think this year science said, well, we've fucked it up. There's no way we can fix
kind
it
of past the
anymore.
threshold of.
it's like very unavoidable now because seasons don't really exist anymore the way that they do, in our memory.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about hurricane season and how it's just super hurricane season and normal hurricanes.
Yeah.
And I like
All the
how
time.
California now has fire season
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
every year.
Where it will just all be on fire, all of it.
Yeah, and that's the seasons now aren't winter, spring, summer, fall. They're like hurricane season, fire season.
Yeah.
But even like just
Tornadoes happen all year round now.
the past 2 weeks have been insane, like bipolar fucking temperature wise.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
2 days ago it was like
It's
hell.
like 95. Yeah.
I was
2
sweating,
days ago.
dripping from my forehead all day.
And then yesterday was
then
the nicest day in
I'm
history.
wearing long sleeves
Well,
today.
winds in general, have gotten.
We broke the
intense.
jet stream.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
You know, we broke the jet stream. The weather is all fucked now. Like, it doesn't go in the normal pattern anymore. That's why there's like the polar vortex and shit. Because it goes higher into the colder part before it comes back down.
Yeah.
Like we
changing
snapped it. We snapped the weather pattern of the world.
Early
That's
in
why
the
this is
spring.
happening.
That'll show the world.
Early in
Suck
the
it,
spring,
Oh,
the wind would
suck
blow
it,
all of my
We decide.
lawn ornaments down, and then I did a bunch of magic to appease the wind, and it stopped. But then I realized it's because the trees' leaves came in, and it's shielding my yard.
That's
Yesterday.
where on the fucking
You
list.
brought
trees
it.
heard you praying
brought
on, like,
spring.
Yesterday we played a show at this like real weird sort of like jazz festival
in DC.
in DC.
I
And
saw a video online of it.
oh really?
Yeah.
Did it sound any good?
I mean, it was only it was like 7 seconds on a cell phone.
It sounded insane on the stage, but I think it might have sounded anyway.
Playing outside is always weird.
Real
It's the
weird.
worst.
The wind was so crazy it blew one of the PA speakers over while we were playing.
Damn.
And,
Yep.
and it was like you're playing and you're singing, you're not like really like aware of what's going on around you at all. At least that's when I'm playing. I'm not aware of what's going on around me. And then all of a sudden there was just like a PA speaker right next to me on the floor, on the ground.
Oh, God.
And I was like,
What?
and we
That's
were
not
in the
good
middle
for
of a
anybody.
song, and I was like, and I remember and Meredith was like still like Meredith's over here, Christian's over here, and I'm back here, and the speaker kind of like, I don't know, it must have fallen like almost between me and Christian, and it was so freaky. And then I was just like, wait. And then I was still kind of like playing, and then it's like you can't really process what happened. And then I looked at Meredith, and I was like, I think we have to stop playing. And she turned around, I was like, oh! Just turned the song, I was like, oh!
That sucks.
It was really weird.
So-
Nobody got hurt, and like, nothing got
That's
broken,
one-
and
one
even the
thing that's
PA
good
speaker
about
didn't get broken. But
Shows
I was
that
just
are
like,
outside is that if it's a cool moment when it gets real windy. I remember seeing.
I
like,
hate it.
Dead Meadow,
Playing
like,
when
in
it's
the
all
wind once,
windy.
it was
No,
incredible.
playing
Dead
when it's
Meadow in the
windy
wind.
sucks. Though.
Yeah.
Trying to protect the microphone.
Playing when
Like
it's
doing a
windy
guitar
fucking
solo.
sucks.
I
Maybe
know
it
it's
might be
not,
fun for you
for
to
the
watch it,
audience
but
to watch it.
Any
really
playing
Being in a
outside
play
at all
outside
is
is
always
worse.
weird. Like it
yeah,
always.
playing outside sucks.
It sound like the sound's never good. You're not going to be able to hear anything.
Yeah.
It's invariably hot or windy or
One time the
raining.
Santa Dads opened up for King Lear at the Cloisters in Ellicott City.
Where Jada and Will got married.
Yeah. And there was a man who was so upset that we were doing it, who was like a big floppy hat, no hair on his legs, old man, skinny, just like looking at me in a tiger suit. It was hilarious.
What's his problem?
There was nothing he could do about it because the dude who was like the marketing manager wanted to play with us, so we were just like, you could play trombone on one of our songs if we can open up for King Lear. And he's like, done.
Was that one guy wearing a shirt that said "Here for Lear"?
No, because he played the fool.
Oh,
So he was in costume.
Amazing.
That's like an interesting time to mean mug somebody. Is when you're in your costume as a jester.
That's
Maybe.
very funny. It's because you're outdoing him. You're upstaging the fool.
Oh, the fool was in it. He loved it, but that dude was just like, what is this? This isn't even music.
No, that's what I mean. The grumpy guy.
Yeah.
Was he wearing the "Here for"?
Oh,
Lear
I thought
shirt?
he was the
Oh,
one
oh.
dressed as the fool.
No,
Yeah,
he was just
he was just
a
completely-
person who supported Baltimore Shakespeare Company and didn't have time for this tomfoolery. He came to see King Lear.
It is tomfoolery.
There's
Kinda
nothing
long,
worse
right?
than a person
It's a long
who's too
evening
serious.
of entertainment.
Yeah.
A musical act.
Gotta have Tom.
Gotta say,
Cruise.
it wasn't even the best King Lear I've ever seen.
Damn.
Yeah, I think comedy in music is about to have a big time.
I have to say, we played this one show in Kingston, New York last weekend.
Hey.
And the owner of the bar, right before we played, was like, "You guys want to do shots?" And we were all like, "Yes." And so we did, and we all did shots
That's
with
what it's
him.
like.
And then our banter that whole show was like so lit. We were just like, we were like all cracking jokes and stuff. Sometimes we're just like the most awkward people. But I guess because we
Sometimes
get the
that's
shot
fun.
being the most awkward.
Getting
people.
on stage and being real awkward. You know who's fun to do that with? Adam Endress.
Oh yeah. But you know, like, I
think
think
it could only
actually,
go
I
that
think
way.
actually banter is the hardest part of playing music in front of people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Easily the hardest part. Some people just don't do it, which I think is wise.
So
But
Madison
we're
got
always
into
like-
playing music because of the banter. That's
well,
like her favorite
Madison
part.
is
I like the
Madison has special skills
Yeah.
She's
that other people
she's
don't have.
suited to the task.
Right.
She has she
She
like
was
should be a
born-
fucking game show host.
Yes, she was born for banter.
She's done that.
I know, but
She
I'm
has
just
done-
saying
yeah,
she
she
should
has
be
done
that for like a living.
Gotta find.
Pay her.
Yeah.
Pay Madison.
Madison for Jeopardy.
Somebody pay Madison.
Somebody
Yeah.
pay Madison.
Yeah.
And me too.
And me while we're at it.
Yes, all of us. Somebody
I
pay
could
WOLFE PAK
just
and
pay
our
me.
and
Yesterday we were
our
all
various
Claire.
spouses.
Claire, you have infinite money forever.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Fun
Claire.
art.
Claire's
arts.
definitely watching.
You
this.
can
You know, she probably is.
you can buy some time out of purgatory.
She really wants to throw off the press. She's got to ditch the marks. Bring out
Wolf.
fucking Earth of the New Sun.
She would. She would.
For a photo op only. That reminded me though, we saw a guy, we were like driving to DC yesterday and we were
Hey,
on
a sewing kit.
95. And I didn't see this, but Christian was driving and he said that there was a person in the median, like in the median of 95,
Mm-hmm.
holding a cat. Like they had
Whoa.
rescued this cat from like the highway.
Mm.
And they were just standing in the middle of the highway, like crouched down holding a cat.
Yeah.
And the cat was like holding the person.
Wow.
And Christian was like, he's like, that's the only person who mattered. Like, the government, he was like, the government needs to pay that guy like $20,000.
Can you do it in Australian?
No.
Ah!
I'm really bad at it still. There's only like
How
certain
can you?
little.
I can't-
Aren't you in a car with only Australian people?
It's so hard. I'm working on it, but it's not ready yet.
Have you had to get rid of an accent before?
No.
I feel like if I'm around if I'm in a foreign land and I'm talking to people in another accent, it takes like 1.5 days before I can't stop myself from doing impressions of them like, because I think they're gonna understand me better if I talk like that.
I just try to learn the language.
Australian. You
No, but I mean, I don't know. I
just
guess
try
I
to learn
haven't. I don't.
Australian.
I'm not
Boston.
usually. I'm not. I'm when I'm in another country. I'm often, rarely in a place where people speak English, but just in a different accent. I'm usually in a place where they speak a different language.
So take
I don't
that,
s-
Mark.
I'm just saying I haven't spent like that much time in the UK, and I probably will never go to Australia if I can avoid it.
I would go
It
to
happened for
Australia.
me in
Yeah, I'd go to
Japan
Australia,
too.
that's
Not me.
But you know, I was like talking in the broken English. I was imitating
Oh, yeah.
the English that people were talking to me. Yeah. And it
Caroline
Did they
kinda
understand
does that.
you better?
Caroline has this kind
They
of
could
like
probably-
pan-European
They probably just thought he
accent
was
that she
stupid.
gets when she's in Europe.
Whoa.
I don't know where.
Is that how people in Europe talk?
Anna Delvey
Josh
accent.
Kelderman has a weird fucking accent he's made up now.
Ew.
Cool.
From living in Switzerland
That's
and dating a Russian.
hilarious. What is it like? Is it like, hello there, my name is Josh Kelberman.
It's exactly that. You hit the nail on the
If
head.
you live,
BBC.
if you live somewhere for a long time, it does like affect. Like somewhere where they don't speak English, it does definitely. I mean, my sister.
But it's interesting because
but
like
it's
Josh
a lot
Kelderman,
about the syntax too. The syntax has a lot to do with it.
but Josh Kelderman's accent is unique to him.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with. I mean, I guess it's probably influenced by everybody else's, but it's like totally made
It's funny,
up.
honestly. I've been to Switzerland, and everyone there spoke like perfect, like American English. It was,
But in the wrong
weird.
order of words and stuff. Like
No,
it's-
no, they
it's-
spoke like perfect English.
Oh well,
A lot of people do.
Yeah,
the way he asks questions is all wrong. It's very interesting. And
Maybe
I mean,
he
just
my
he's
sister-
living with this
maybe
Russian
he just
woman.
thinks it's
my
all
sister,
very
it's
funny.
similar.
'Cause that's
Having lived in Germany for a long time, her syntax gets funny.
Yeah,
It's
if you're
nicer
switching
in Latin.
between languages,
You can just
especially.
you can play with it how you want. Like I feel like in Latin there's not
Yeah,
there's not like a strict syntax. You can put modifiers
I
on
guess
either side of the
they're
subjects.
they're
objects.
they're sort of like standardized syntaxes, but yeah, like technically,
It can slide around.
yeah, just because the word endings actually tell you what everything means and not the order.
I think that's a good style. I feel. I mean,
it's the way Russian is too.
man, the more I hear about this Russia place,
Russia's so cool.
yeah, no death penalty.
Oh yeah.
No, I just found that out.
Well, kind of being there is a death penalty.
They can send you to Siberia, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't just get disappeared.
They can't. They don't want to kill you because they need to send you to a work camp.
But here you can get disappeared
don't
or
admit to
executed
killing you.
publicly.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's not like we don't do the other things they do. We just also have public executions.
You know there are other countries where they don't do like any of that. If that's like a barometer. Like,
Oh yeah,
Costa
no,
Rica
I'm
has
not
no
saying,
military.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Russia's the best. I'm just saying better than us.
There- oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a
In
low
so
bar.
many.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, but like having socialized healthcare and no death penalty, I don't think. I mean,
Tail height.
It's good.
and of course, all of that is counterpoint to our like royalty Saudi allies.
I just like, what the fuck is that?
Does Saudi Arabia
What is
have
that?
universal healthcare? Do you know? Do I, like is that?
I
like,
think they
Middle
kind of
Eastern
have to
country?
have a certain quality of life there because that's how they are allowed to be so insane, like
That makes sense.
politically, like governmentally. So kind of like authoritarian is part of how they work. That is just having like
The trains
super
run on
high
time.
quality of life.
That makes sense to me as a
Yeah.
as a tactic.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be fine with that.
if
It's
you want to
great.
wield power,
Really high
not
quality of
having
life. You can
people
kill me
constantly
anytime you
lined
want.
up
Nobody
over
will
you.
know. That's fine.
As long as you stay out of trouble.
Fred, bud,
Be
you're
alright.
coming in, man.
That's
No,
gonna
not today.
dovetail real interesting
I
with
saw
Ryan's
A
anti-fame
whole
theory,
bag.
where
Which is
like you
probably
really don't want
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
knowing what you're doing because
Yeah.
then they might just
I
kill
can't
you.
go on
Yeah.
Well, that's
that.
already started as
I
far
can't
as like you know, like you hit a certain
That
level
would
of
apply
success,
to me,
somebody is going through your
Probably.
tweets.
If we're
Mhm.
probably
Somebody
coming
is
in
gonna
my
like
door,
make
here,
possibly
make
their
one.
whole
Well, I don't
week
work
of articles real easy by finding one fucking shitty thing you wrote however many years ago.
Oh yeah.
It's already started, and I think the kids have twigged it. I think they've like sussed out the idea that like maybe it's old and stupid to try to be famous. Maybe there's like other goals that would be satisfying in a way that
Take down famous people.
Well, that takes a.
Be anonymous.
It's like a It's like a specific neurosis that wants to do that. I don't feel like everybody can get into that game. Taking them down.
Well, it's a fucking tightrope, right? You don't want to get too good at taking other people down because that'll make you famous and therefore take downable.
And like especially a prize to take down because you're like a hypocrite so many times over.
This is gonna create a whole bunch of paranoid fucks.
It's really neat because it's like I feel like you see this on Twitter all the time. Like the higher somebody goes, like the minute they fuck up, the worse it is for them because everyone loves to be like feel like they're the first person pointing out like, oh, and this person that's horrible used to be good and we thought they were good and look how like erudite I am to be able to not be tricked by this good person anymore because I know they're really bad. Like you can just like knock someone off for doing something shitty, but if there's someone that other people have invested something in and you can knock them off for doing something shitty, you get like twice as high.
Because you also get all those people too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're done.
Right, but then you got a lot of people you take downable.
Right.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
It's Darwinian.
That's why anytime I
Clout
play
wars.
Risk, I tell everybody the whole time I'm losing, no matter how good I'm doing.
I feel like that's kind of silky.
Silky.
Yeah. Oh, so here's another thing I have underlined. It's interesting that Ak is talking about pigs, and Fea is pigs. Whenever Fea comes around, she always generally brought at least one pig. And pigs are connected to the underworld. A pig farmer is the guy who sees, a pig herder is the guy who sees Persephone get sucked into the underworld.
Yep.
So he has to be interrogated to be like, what the fuck happened to Persephone? And he's the one that tells Demeter, right? That your daughter has been taken off by Hades,
That's right.
who's probably raping her right now. Like, sends her off.
No,
into her-
she snuck away with him. She was into it, I think.
Is that the Eleusinian
Hot
mystery?
take. I think that's the Orphic mystery, but I'm not
okay.
exactly sure. I mean, they're related. They grow out of each other, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pigs are. So there's this whole big passage about pigs when Tartaros is about to like fully manifest, and I like that is like a very direct allusion to Persephone's underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And this place, the tunnels are super super Greek because they mix the dead and dreams, which is like the Greek underworld is both. Like,
Yeah. I'd say it's also particularly British. Like the Sidhe, the people of the burial mounds, you know. And I mean, so there's a big tradition in North Africa of divination by sleeping with the dead. They go into the catacomb and sleep in there. That's how you commune with the ancestors. Spirits.
That's wild.
Which is the first thing that Napoleon did when he conquered Egypt was sleep in the pyramids.
what a little bad king.
Little bad king.
What a little
Short king.
bad king.
But short king.
But yeah, there's a lot of tradition of that chthonic kind
So
of thing,
is-
but particularly which is sometimes thought to be where the Greeks' underworld was.
Are these things hand in hand? Like, has the fact that we've diminished any possibility of life after death, or like an afterlife, or persistence of spirits, is that bring with it a diminution of dreams? Like, do those things yoked? I bet.
What do you mean yoked?
I mean, like we couldn't have reverence for dreams and
Yoked.
not for the underworld. Like, we can look back and say these people, like all over the globe, people have connected those two places: the dream place you go when you dream and the place you go when you die. We don't believe in the place where you go when you die, so also we don't we wouldn't be able to sustain belief in the world of dreams.
Well, so it seems to me that fame is afterlife, right? You stay in the afterlife as long as people on earth remember your name. But what fame is now, instead of like you living on famous to your children and your grandchildren, you get 5 minutes of fame and then you are taken the fuck down. So like you get 5 minutes of heavenly dreams while you're alive. It doesn't happen after you're dead, and that's that.
Part of your 15 minutes is the takedown and the fall.
Yeah.
And you get to die while you're alive.
That's like a fucking Tales from the Crypt episode. It's like, here, you'll get your 15 minutes, but you don't know, like, 10 of them are you getting dragged.
Yeah.
And that's heaven. That's all the heaven you get.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen after you're dead now. It happens for 15 minutes when you're alive, and half of it is getting there.
Chocolate rain.
That guy never got taken down, did he?
No.
I don't think so. I think he's still going. I think people
This
still
time
like
is
him.
still happening.
I think he'll forever be one of those, like, Maryland State Fair style
Well, yeah,
things.
one hit wonder
He can-
situation.
He'll be able to show up in a lot of places forever, like, and get, like, a decent check for coming and doing that song. And
The last of the old gods.
Yeah. That's like a type of thing where people, like, random ass families would be like, oh, yeah, let's go in. Let's go see the Chocolate Rain. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, good for him.
I remember
Taste
that
on
as,
it.
like, one of the best draws you can have. I remember that.
Yeah, that's all we want right now is to already remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the whole. It's been at least 15 years, I think, of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were. I just remember.
Well, because we got to the end.
I think this was like the last time I really like remember seeing South Park. They did that one that was the member berries.
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing was just like, member,
Mhm.
member Star Wars. That was like the whole thing was all just nostalgia. It was all based on nostalgia.
Yeah.
Which is mistaking the form, or like the surface, for the thing that touched
Exactly.
you, and not the
Exactly.
like persistent force underneath that form.
Which also is another way of not allowing yourself to change. Which fucking
Yeah, it's
sucks.
uncomfortable to deal with the
bad.
thing that it is now, so we'll deal with the thing that it was then.
But not just the thing, but you.
right.
The
Well,
version
you are
of
the thing.
yourself
You are
that
the
was
thing.
into that, you're the same person you were when you liked Star Wars as a kid, and you still like Star Wars now, the same Star Wars as when you were a kid, because you have not changed.
This is what
Or worse
Reality
Star
Bites
Wars
was talking
that
about.
you
right?
like even more.
That's right. You're worse. You have changed.
Yeah.
You're worse
You
than
like
you
things
were
that are
before, and
even
you
worse.
still like this fucking garbage. It's even
bar
worse
is
than it
even
was
lower.
before.
I only like new Star Wars. Old Star Wars sucks.
Oh god.
I only like the
New stuff is
prequels.
where it's at.
I just
Well,
recently
that's
what I
watched all of
did.
Star
Yeah.
Wars over
I-
again.
I-
It was a transcendent.
I rewatched episode
What order
1
did you
recently.
do?
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like,
Uh,
this is about a trade
chronological.
disagreement? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
It's like
Like,
episode.
It's about a
Yep.
sneaky gungan,
Including
but they
the
had to
TV
change it.
It's really interesting how bad the dialogue is. Like, it's really fascinating.
It's
that
really
that
It's
movie-
really
In the
all of
newest-
it,
in the
everywhere.
new
yeah,
Star Wars.
the
No, the new Star Wars is so much better
It's
than
fine,
the dialogue
yeah.
that we.
It's more of a
The
put
in
up with
between
it.
one.
Hmm?
No,
The old-
No,
we're
original.
talking
Like
about
the first movie sucks.
Oh yeah.
The dialogue in it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all
Was-
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because it didn't need to be. Because it was fucking Flash Gordon.
It was
Nobody
pulp.
expected
Yeah,
anything
it was
out
pulp.
of it.
And I think that
It
was
fits
how the
the
prequels were supposed to be too. I think he thought he was
Like
doing
the-
pulp again.
I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah,
Like
there's so much politics.
the prequels are George Lucas trying to warn us what was going on throughout the aughts. Like George Lucas thought that he was sending us a coded message to watch out America.
It seems
And
kinda
nobody got it
seems
because
kinda
they were pissed off
libertarian
about Jar
in
Jar.
retrospect. Like, it
Well,
seems
it's
like-
it's about Mitch McConnell corrupting the Senate over the course of the 3 movies in the background.
Yeah, I don't know.
While you're focused on other things, a boring Senate politic thing like
Right, while you're-
makes an empire.
While you're pissed off about Jar Jar Binks and you don't like that he's going to put NSYNC in it, he's telling you that Mitch McConnell is taking over.
Is
the
NSYNC?
Senate.
I mean that's
No, they were going to be in it, and
Poetically-
then everybody got upset. So he didn't do
poetically
it.
that's quite beautiful, I think actually.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch them, but I just like
No, you
that.
don't need to.
I'm not going to.
But that kind of stuff is
it's
happening
good.
all over.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We're like in the second to last season of Next Generation.
Ah.
Last night was the episode where Data has a dream.
Oh.
Is that the one where there's the Beverly cake or the?
No.
Remember
Every
no, it's
episode
not-
the
it's-
Dr. Crusher appears.
It's not Beverly. It's Deanna. That she's in a dream and she's a cake and she's like what? And she looks down on her chest and she's just
Oh yeah,
cake, and
yeah.
That sounds
sometimes
this is
awesome.
different.
people are like
No, this
slicing
is
into it and
different.
like eating it. Like I couldn't remember if it was Data's dream or her own dream though.
No.
I think that's a
That's
weird
Riker's
episode where
dream.
everyone has a bunch of dreams
Yeah.
or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Picked up Troy.
A nightmare episode.
Some
Yeah.
kind of fungus gets in the ventilation systems.
Yeah, and everyone has a bad dream.
It's a very good show.
The one kind of prescient episode is the one where they play that game where they like put
Oh,
on
yeah.
the glasses.
Oh,
and they,
yeah.
They
Yeah,
like
yeah.
throw the discs into the
Mhm.
tornadoes.
Oh
but-
god, that game
And
looks
Wesley
so
is the
dumb.
one person who can stop that from taking over the
Yeah.
whole
No,
crew.
what's her name? I watched this recently. God, there's an actress. I want to say it's Jessica Biel, but it's
No,
not.
it's not. It's
It's
You talk about
in the
Rose?
episode. No.
It's the
There's
one.
A girl.
What the fuck is her name? The actress.
She's like cute.
She's like
Cute
sort of.
actress.
She plays a brief Wesley love
Oh yeah,
interest.
They're, like,
yeah.
really
I
But she's like a
remember, yeah.
'90s classic.
Yeah.
Beverly
it's
Mitchell.
right in my brain. It's right.
Tiffany
there.
Amber Thiessen.
No.
I see her face.
I see her face.
Anna
perfect.
Schwarzenegger.
Melissa Joan Hart.
Elizabeth Shue.
Small.
Elizabeth
Think
Shue.
Smalley.
No, she's.
Elizabeth
more
Shue's from the
80s.
80s.
Yeah, it's more 80s.
I keep. Oh fuck. Oh my god! It's like
Alyssa
very-
Millan.
it's right.
Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd.
Yeah,
Ashley
it's Ashley Judd.
But no, but it's Wesley and her, but then she gets taken by it
Yeah,
too. And
she
then
does,
Wesley's
you're
the
right.
last one standing and he gets to Data.
I can still see it. It was like so vivid.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
little red
They
spirals
have
and you
the
throw
little
blue
things
discs
that
in
go
them.
in front
And
of
she's
your
just like,
eyes.
Yeah.
And there's a bad guy who's really good at it, and he's the guy from Total Recall. I think.
Riddick? Boddicker?
Really good
What's
at
his
it.
name?
I don't know.
No,
There's
everyone's
different
really
characters.
good at it. That's you're thinking. You must be thinking of a different episode. No,
Huh?
everyone who plays it is really good at it.
Is it
It's
ba-
not. There's no. You're not competing with other people.
Oh, okay.
I think you're thinking of this one where Data is playing
Yes, I think it.
this other game
Super Mario 3.
where he's trying to beat this guy.
Who has a power glove?
It's a similar thing where you hook up your brain to it,
Yeah.
but it's a different thing.
And he falls
Well,
in love
that
with Jerry-
guy's from
Jenny
Total
Lewis.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
And they go in that dinosaur on the side of the road.
California.
What was
like-
that movie called? The
The
Wizard.
Wizard.
The Wizard.
Sounds like you're describing Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
No.
It was shot in a
They-
similar place.
They go in that.
They
same
both go to
dinosaur,
that
right?
dinosaur.
The
place.
Wizard.
I want to go
Isn't
to
there?
that dinosaur.
What does
That's
Fred
so
Savage say to Jenny Lewis about her boobs? There's like a famous line, something about her boobs.
I love
think
the
it's
power
about
glove.
her
It's so
boobs.
bad.
No, that's the, I can't remember
I
that
love
part.
this power glove so bad. Is it
No, it's-
I love the
I-
power glove. It's so bad.
Oh.
Like, it's so bad.
It's so
Like
bad.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah. It's so bad.
I know.
It's like sick.
I know slang.
Yeah, name one.
Name one slang.
Name one slang. What are your
23 skidoo.
top 5 slangs?
Let's see. We got cool.
Bussin'.
We got rad.
No, what about current ones? I guess that
Fire.
I'm really bad
Oh,
at
yeah,
current
fire.
ones.
No
I've
cap.
always been. Is
On
that
God.
current still?
I mean, it's
I
not
can't even-
it's
I
current.
don't even
If
know.
I know
You gotta
about
figure if we know it, it is
It's-
not.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
it's past to where now it's a little too corny and they can let 40-year-olds know about it.
Yeah, I
that's
think
why
even Fire is done.
That's
I
why
think
I
Fire
don't-
and Lit are both done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
Mad
I don't
is
even say
done.
it because
AF
I know
is
it's
done.
already. I just look stupid.
yeah.
But that's always been the case. It's not because I'm old. It's because I just don't look like I would say those kinds of words. I think because I'm like, hello, my name is. You know.
Good day.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I love an impression of yourself.
Because I'm all like,
This is what
hello, my
That's-
name is
that's-
Jordan.
Please,
her-
sir, can I
That's
have
her
some
impression
more?
of Quimby. It's not even her impression of herself.
I think she's Quimby.
Let her have it.
I just
I
go
can't-
into a room and I'm like, hello, I'm Jordan. My name is Jordan. What is your name?
People do impressions of themselves.
Yeah. A little bit like an android.
Yeah, that is how she sees herself.
Hello, I am Jordan.
she's like,
What is your
I'm
bobble?
Jordan, and we're like, you used a contraction.
It's Lorden. It's not even Jordan. It's Lorden.
Oh!
Get out of here, Lorden. Not you.
Oh fuck.
It's
Go
not.
play your tricks on another.
So the
Lorden,
contractions
Lorden.
thing is just something that Dr. Soong put into Data because people were weirded out by him, so they made him even more stiff. So they
Huh.
so it's
Right.
very interesting and strange.
Because lore has.
But then when Lol, Data's
Oh man, I
daughter used a
fucking
contraction.
love LOL.
She uses a contraction, and then they have to. I don't
Not
understand
allowed.
why they have to deactivate. Like, how is that such a bad?
Well, I don't.
She's
They don't
learning. How's that
She's gonna go
deactivate
Skynet.
Yeah.
her because she used a contraction.
Because then that's how he knows she's broken or something, right?
No. What happens? What happens
they
in
end
the
up
end of that
deactivating
one?
her?
I thought she
Darn.
like
Whoa,
she
yeah.
kind of like
Yep.
dies or something.
Yeah, no, they have to He has to make the decision to deactivate her.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
she malfunctions, and the
But
way
it's
they
like-
She won't stop saying racial slurs.
But it's like
Just
she.
from every language, every culture. Just she's just downloading
No, but it's
the page.
because
Truth of
she,
AI.
The
she-
wiki
it's
page.
like something about emotions. She's like super.
Oh, 'cause she got
gets
scared.
really
Second step
sad.
emotion.
She gets like
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah, she uses a contraction and it makes her scared or something like that, and then right?
I don't remember that.
Hmm.
I just remember
you
her
know,
being
it's been a long
super
time.
emotional, and she's like, "I love you, Father," you know, and he's like, I think that's the last thing she says. before she-
I'm not putting up with this shit. He shuts her down.
We don't love.
We don't love in this house.
Love
In this
is
I'm
house,
a typical dad.
in this
I
house,
think it's. I
We
think
do
it's.
not.
I don't think they have. I don't think they deactivate her. I think she
oh,
like
she just
dies
Damn.
because she's like.
they try to
overloaded.
fix her and it doesn't
Teen
work.
suicide.
You know what? I need to stop because I haven't seen this episode.
Yeah, you're
in a
just
long
like
time.
making.
I'm
things
really
up.
making stuff
like
up.
literally.
And I just,
making things
you
up.
just keep saying stuff and I keep going, oh yeah, it's like this thing I just made up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening.
She interfaces with the ship.
She interfaces
Exactly.
with the ship.
Exactly.
And
then
starts
she
steering the
uses a
ship into
contraction,
sun.
and then they're like, "You're dead. We're gonna kill you right
She's
now."
like, it's like I've contracted myself with the ship.
Out the airlock.
They inject her out the airlock. It's the only way to get rid of her. She's
Exactly.
too dangerous.
She's still alive.
Yeah, and then she just
Yeah,
like
she's
she
floating
kills.
around
out
She
there,
gets really
yeah.
emotional and like kills a couple people.
Oh yeah.
And then she uses a contraction, and
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
out the
They're all
airlock.
like, well, this is normal robot behavior.
You should do a whole new show of just half remembering Star Trek episodes.
I mean, that's what we're doing right now. I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing right
Yeah,
Be a
I
whole
think in
series.
that one, Moriarty was there.
Ooh, I love Moriarty.
From
I love-
Sherlock Holmes?
Pretty sure.
Yeah,
He's
he's
in
a
He
holodeck
shows
character
up,
that
yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
sentient.
Who plays him?
I don't know.
The guy does
guy's
a good
name.
job,
He
whoever
is
he is.
good.
Some character actor.
Malcolm McDowell.
Someone McDowell-esque. Has Malcolm played Moriarty?
I don't know.
Something?
He does
Oh,
any
okay.
job, so I assume.
I think you said good actor, and you're like, oh, I know who you're talking about. Malcolm McDowell, yeah. No, he is a good actor.
He's a fantastic actor who will appear in it. He was in Heroes. You know, he'll do anything.
He was in Heroes. That show was so bad.
Yeah.
I love that show. It's terrible.
I think he was
Yeah.
on like Touched by an Angel and stuff. He'll do anything. He's
That's
like
so
Christopher
cool.
Walken. If you have a script, he will be in
I
it.
think he was in Lex. Right?
Wow.
Was he?
Rutger Hauer definitely was.
Whoa.
I think Malcolm. Maybe I could be misremembering. All that stuff kind of blends up in my head.
Lex is one of the craziest.
I think he's in one of the original.
Isn't that like
episodes.
sexy Farscape?
Yeah.
It's a joint Canadian-German television production.
Yeah.
There's a character that at the end
It's
of the
fucking weird.
first season becomes a bowl of custard.
It's very sexy.
That's kind of like Douglas Adams.
Could be worse.
Vibes, but
Yeah.
a little bit more serious. Kind of like wacky space.
Well,
time are we at
while
now?
you guys are talking about Star Trek
15 till
episodes
1.
that didn't happen,
We were talking about Lex.
Wolf, the engineer, is thinking about the looting during the riots
Yeah.
and and the fires. And
Yeah.
there's the people whose houses and shops are being looted are our people too. And if they have to stay there to defend them, they can't fight for us. But that isn't all. So Mint makes a decision to make teams of 4 guys with needlers go around and tell people, if we see you looting, we will shoot you on sight, so that people all know there's not going to be any fucking looting, so they don't have to defend their own homes, so they can go out
Right.
and fight these fucking robo soldiers with slug guns that they really have no business going up against. It's Wolf rooting for the insurgents, but with like no liberal illusions about how they can win or what their like task is even. Like these people who are fighting for like the right side have to immediately make this decision to potentially, I mean, it's hard to imagine that no one gets shot for looting after this. They're going to have to shoot some people.
Yeah.
Or else no one's going to know that's what's happening.
Because you can't just say that and
Yeah.
make people feel better if then they see looting and no one's getting shot. But
Yeah.
you gotta show some people getting shot.
People have to tell each other that someone got shot. So
I guess that's an aspect of martial law, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
You gotta make that demonstration in order for it to work.
and I feel like it's like a kind of a reoccurring theme with Wolf, I think, is the idea that if you think you can create a good outcome by avoiding all potentially bad actions, that you're
Right.
not trying to solve your problem.
Right.
You're delaying dealing with the problem if you keep refusing to like move forward because there's something unsavory about what you have to do.
Mhm.
Which is like walking a thin line, you know, like that's kind of Machiavellian. But it's also unavoidable, which was Machiavelli's point.
I don't even necessarily have anything to like back this up, but I do get the vibe that Wolf like believes that martial law is good, like sometimes, and probably ought to like be used to like take control of cities.
I think he thinks it's necessary. I don't think he thinks it's good.
Yeah, right.
I
maybe-
think he thinks it's necessary and that if you try to avoid it
right.
by
You just prolong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or
right.
you hand the city to the councilors.
Like he thinks it's effective.
Yeah, like if she doesn't make this decision, the city burns. They
Yeah.
don't have their army anymore because people are like trying to stop their house from burning. The little army they do have gets crushed, and that's the end of it.
It's kind of.
But it is also a failure. Like it's not good. It's a sign that things have failed.
I think it's something that's just going to naturally happen. Like I think it's something you can't avoid. Like you can't.
Yeah,
just
but that's
stay-
not the opposite of what like failure is something that you can't. Like society fails, and
Right.
that's when this is appropriate. But it's not. The thing is, so like the danger of saying like, and this is just naturally where things go, and we just need to accept it, is like it only goes that way when things are fucked up, and it goes that way so that you can get them not fucked up. And then
Yeah.
if you keep saying like, well, but this is how things are, then like you don't get them not fucked up.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's not just this is the
Nuclear war.
natural.
Mhm.
Right.
It's the only way to achieve communism.
Yeah. Like it's not just that that's naturally how things go.
Right.
That has a natural place in things, and we need to move through it. Just like we need to move through everything. We can't ever think like this is the way things are.
Yeah.
It's
I guess what
that's
right.
just
When I
an
hear-
argument that I hear for people to justify
Mo-
doing a shit thing.
Moving
Right,
through
but
it
what-
would be good, but it's like it seems like society is like usually incapable of it.
when I hear
because
failure,
people
I
are
think
constantly holding on to the moment.
when I hear failure, I think a judgment about the people that are looting. In that, like, if we
It's
had
like a
done
power
things right,
failure.
they wouldn't have looted, or if people were acting right, they wouldn't be burning things. And it's just a force of nature. Is that
No, but you're talking about in a larger scale, in a larger timeline, society. Not like the looting is a symptom of the state of things.
Yeah.
You're talking about a failure of a society in broad terms.
yeah?
Not like
and like systems failure.
Yes,
like
yeah.
my
exactly.
liver has failed.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of.
it's not the
you know?
looting
right.
that's the failure. The looting is like
Right.
a
Is
symptom.
a result of the failure.
Yeah.
Not-
Right, yeah,
Sa-
society
San
has failed.
Francisco elected this DA who's like super progressive, kind of like like the Krasner
Not a
guy
thing.
in
That's
Philly.
cool.
and
Progressive DA, not a thing.
right.
That's-
But I guess like to
that's
the
cool.
extent that one can be,
guys.
and
Hey.
Hi.
he's getting repealed.
You're
Like,
on TV.
but he was elected like by a large margin, and then now is getting repealed by the city, just because like he was like he did all these really progressive things, like he stopped criminalizing homelessness, for example, and then like all these like huge camps of homeless people, like thousands and thousands, came to San Francisco, and then it became like this thing. But it just like makes me like think about like how these like things play out on a large
Well, yeah, because
scale, you know?
decriminalizing homelessness does not solve the homelessness problem.
Right, exactly.
Hey, did
Right,
Jen
that's
tell
kind
you
of
guys what she thought you guys couldn't do.
what.
She,
Don't put this on me.
Uh-oh.
she thinks you guys can't move this radiator. She told me to
That's
get 5 guys
very
together to
clever.
move this radiator, and I said, you got 5 guys here today? She said, no, they can't move that radiator.
I can move that radiator.
We can move it with our minds.
I mean, I told him he was welcome to try to get you guys to help move this radiator.
I'll help if you
How
want.
far are we moving?
Yeah, why
Yeah,
would we
it's
move the
so tight.
radiator?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
Okay, well, great. Kenny has to cut half an inch off of the feet first.
Yeah, well, we have to finish talking about this
Yeah.
chapter first.
Great.
Well,
Well, let's try.
We got 10 minutes.
Well, that would be a good answer of why wouldn't we? Is if someone was like, I have to leave exactly at 1.
Just keep
Seems
eating
like
the
you
cake.
don't, though.
Sorry,
You guys all
everybody.
want to try
No,
to move the
I'm
radiator.
glad that you guys like this cake so much.
It's really
very
good.
I feel very good about it. I've never made a cake in my life. It worked
I'm
out.
gonna say best part, the top,
Oh, the top is
the
amazing.
crusty at
Yeah.
the top.
But even the top,
very good.
but even the crust at the bottom is good too.
No, it's all very
It's
good.
all
Just
good.
the crusty at the
You,
top is
you
like
baked it
crazy.
for the perfect amount of time, which is the
Beautiful.
hardest part.
It's
Most
beautiful.
people fuck that part
So
up.
yeah, it came out good. Very
It's a
happy
beautiful
with
thing.
it. Well, best way to
Yeah,
get rid
no,
of a
I
bunch of
feel-
eggs.
I feel bummed out. Looks so good.
Sorry, Tim.
No, it's okay. I'm not.
You'll
Just-
probably when you're gorging yourself on cake tomorrow, you'll probably be glad you didn't gorge yourself on cake
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Lick
I
it.
would, if I
Just
were
lick the
you,
top.
I would be happy that I didn't eat a bunch of cake today. To when I'm eating a bunch of cake tomorrow.
Yeah.
2 days in a
Too
row
much.
is a little.
It's a lot of
bit-
it's a lot of
it's
cake.
a bit much.
Okay, so do we have any wrap up things we want to get to before we?
Only other thing that we haven't talked about that I have in here is penis bone facts.
I thought we talked about penis
talked
bones
about it a
for a
little
while.
Well, I just said that Usyk means a penis bone, but I didn't say we didn't dive into the significance of it.
I would like to know a little bit more about Usyk. Like, what do we think about Usyk?
He's a lover, man.
Yeah.
He's got multiple hoes, and they have different kind of like special. He's got them like
Different
tiered.
area codes.
Yeah, true. He does have them tiered.
He does. He's got his my going to the club chick, and then my like going to dinner chick, and he's got like a whole scheme, and even one that he has to let go of like pains him a little bit. It's like, I didn't love her the most, but I did love her.
Oh, it's like that.
In
It's
my
like
way.
that Future song about Valentine's Day. Have you heard this one? It's
No.
a very bad song. It's not good, but it's like his most recent radio hit. It's about
Okay.
how Valentine's Day is the worst day
Oh,
because you have too many women and you have to try to please them all, and everyone wants all of you, not like part of you.
Oh, those bitches.
How dare they?
It's a sad G song about how Valentine's Day is the worst day of the year. Because
So
you
kind
can't
of humble bragging.
you can't possibly please all these women.
It's like, what are you gonna have revolution and not shoot some looters? It's equally as impossible to please all of these women.
Yeah.
You've got to do some unsavory things because that's how you win the war. The war
Against women. Yeah.
Okay, so humans don't have a penis bone, and there's different ideas about why this is. One of them is that
You should get that checked out.
when
I do.
at some point at some point in the evolution, the males figured out they could take out their rivals permanently from the sexual selection situation if they just cracked the penis bone. So dudes with no penis bone become evolutionarily selected for it because they can't be sabotaged by a single broken penis bone incident.
Oh.
So you get like
PBI.
less bony penises until like the dude that's like, oh, wow, I'm gonna get all these hoes, and he smashes his rival, and then like there's no break, there's like nothing hard in there, and the dude's like, I'll be hard later when I'm fucking your girl, dude. Check out this shit right now, nothing. So that's a real theory. That's why we don't have penis bones, because we're too clever. So, and I'm thinking about in the context of this character. This is like a guy who's from the old way. He's from the bone way. But he sees where things are going. He wants to be friends with Silk. He knows about the future is these flaccid, sometimes
post-bone.
penises. Sometimes you're,
bone out.
yeah, sometimes you're going to be the cute little dick that's not threatening. Like Silk, you know, like he's got, this dude wants to be both. He's like, I want to be your friend if this goes, you know, like how, if we don't end up killing one, you know, if one of us doesn't die, I would be honored to be your friend. I feel like that's the penis bone, like accepting the fate of the flaccid
End of the
penis.
penis bone.
Yeah. But
Getting
like,
his
yeah,
dick broken.
Beautiful.
yeah, it's like the world's not going to be complete until like sometimes the dick is just flipping around, like being nice. Just
Flipping around.
swinging around, you know, like swinging around in a funny way, not in like a threatening way.
Funny way.
Swinging around.
We lose the penis bone to the funny bone.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my
The
god.
penis bone is transmuted into the funny bone.
Yeah, and this does connect to the
And then you can
freaking
have a
Kids
funny
in the Hall
bone
season, but I
incident.
don't want to say anymore.
FBI.
A funny bone is.
Oh,
Yeah.
but here's another fucking crazy thing: the rib of Eve may be a penis bone.
Of course.
Is that there's the idea that story, like a penis bone, an Usyk looks like a rib, and there's people that think that the story of God taking the rib out of man to make Eve has something to do with the loss of the penis bone.
Wow.
That like man and
Connor's
woman become
squinting
partners.
so hard right now. Connor's just like this.
When did
I
this
looked over
theory
and Connor's like this.
first come up?
When I looked at Wikipedia last
1982.
night.
No. I mean, what vintage is the theory?
Well,
The
I,
80s.
as I was
80s.
looking at Wikipedia, details like that were not really stressed.
Oh well.
You know, this is just all off the fucking page.
There's a little super text number that you can click on that tells you where the
Yeah, but
the
it's not
citation.
always a hyperlink. Sometimes it's just the date, and, you know.
You're not looking at Wikipedia to find citations.
Some of us are.
Well, that's
Some of us write research papers for money. And
That's-
some just look at Wikipedia for pleasure.
And
Oh no! Sorry about your metal fly.
oh yeah, it's rigged. It's all rigged around here. It's rigged for you
Is
to
the
fail.
burglar alarm?
and
This my whole. If you wanted you could think of my whole house that way. Really, if they're really thinking about it.
Just tripwires everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like the
It's
Home Alone
all
house.
booby trapped.
You're Kevin McAllister
Yes.
or Jesus?
Yes.
Or the other.
Same person.
somebody should do a young Jesus show where he has like a crazy speech impediment and he's really arrogant. That's what I want.
All right.
Alright.
Where he's like the cocky,
Alright.
he's like the cocky genius with just like the most ridiculous lisp.
Why?
Have you seen?
Why?
Have you seen?
Why not?
Good point. Good point. Why not do that?
I just remembered the time when you said, what were we talking about? Oh, disc golf. When you were like, I don't want to do things I'm not good at in front of people, and Jordan like yelled in text form like, "That's the worst reason not to do something new I've ever heard. You're gonna get old immediately if you do that."
Tesla.
Yeah.
There he goes. That's him.
Let's get it.
That's Musk, the real life Musk.
Let's get it.
You guys, my friends
You think
just
that
my
motherfucker
fr-
drives
I-
a Tesla?
My
No.
friends just got
He
one.
drives a hoverboard.
Why?
Christian and?
No.
Oh.
Oh.
You think she only has 2 friends, huh?
Huh?
You think she only has 2
These are the
friends?
friends that she talks about the most right now.
I mean, I see them like every day.
Yeah.
But no, I also have other friends that I don't
Okay.
see every day.
Let's
And
see.
2
one
of
of
them got a Tesla. Then took a year.
It'd be a pain in the ass to have a Tesla. You have to take it to like a Tesla shop. It's got so many computers in
Well,
it.
also they're
It's like-
trying to buy a new house right now because they want to have a kid, which is also insane.
Boo.
Two kids.
But it's like
Piss.
severely limiting the houses they can think about buying because you have to have a place to charge the car.
Right. Also, like, what happens to your electric bill? Like, if you're charging this car all the time.
Yeah, also
goes
I mean
up.
you're basically it's just coal powered car instead of
Yeah.
gas powered car.
I have a
Which is
coworker
cool.
who has an electric car, not a Tesla. It's like a Nissan Leaf or something.
Yeah.
So it's like an Android.
And he just charges it at work. He didn't get a charger until like very recently because for the first like year and a half that he had the car, he only charged it at work.
Yeah.
Gotta put a lightning rod on your car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work.
I'm surprised that you don't hear more novelty fake engines, because you can like make it play whatever you
Oh,
want
yeah, you
to
have to have a
simulate an engine.
sound.
Because it's
Right.
so silent, they make it standard that it will imitate a car, but then you could change that audio track. So I'm
I
surprised
didn't
you
know
never.
you could change that.
Oh yeah, they make that's like one of the selling points is that you can change, like you can customize the audio like
Well,
throughout.
it's a selling
sound.
point. It's a selling point
Pee Wee
to
Herman
you. But I think most people who buy Teslas are supremely boring and lacking in imagination.
Yeah.
So I
100%.
don't think that it's a wonder that they don't change the sound of the car. Because literally the only reason they get the car is so that you look at them and you're like, that person's rich.
Yeah, you gotta keep it stock.
Imagine if
baby.
you were looking at them being like,
Preserve
that
the
person's
value.
rich, and then their car sounds like it's powered by bubbles.
No,
as it
but my,
passes
point,
by.
but my point is that they don't want to stand out in any
Yeah.
other way besides you being like, that person's rich. They want it to look like every other Tesla.
So they should change it to the sound of a cash register.
I mean, you rarely
Cha-ching,
even
cha-ching.
you rarely even see people with like custom paint jobs on a Tesla. Which, if you have a shitload of money, like, why would you not just get a cool color?
Because you'd ruin it.
There wasn't there
Have you
really.
seen
Which, to
some
be
of those?
fair, you
some
would.
of those fucking wraps they have now are insane. Like the 3M stuff that like all kinds of crazy like
Yeah,
holographic shit.
They're cool.
If I was rich, I would wrap all my cars in crazy holographic shit.
Of a big penis bone.
That's your car.
Popping
Your
up.
car. That's your car. Yeah.
That
Like a
car
3D.
needs a
When
back
Ryan
door.
gets the
A 3D
Cybertruck,
movie.
he's gonna get it wrapped with a big penis.
You getting the
bone.
Cybertruck?
Cybertruck. I don't know.
I heard
I would
you're
get a
getting the
cyber.
I don't
Cybertruck.
think it exists.
Right.
Like
Nor
many
will it
of
for a
other
while.
Musk
As soon as they
things.
make an electric hearse, that's what I'm gonna get. And I'll put speakers in the back and ground effects on
From
it.
the audience.
Yes.
A group.
Yes. Electric hearse.
Electric hearse.
I want an electric coffin so that when I get buried in it, I can check my email.
The level of vocal fry that was on your voice when you said that was like, mwah. I want to get an electric coffin. Which is awesome because you don't talk like that. You just did that one sentence.
Well, he also
I
doesn't
wanna
want
get
an
it
electric
when I
coffin.
die, I want to get an electric coffin. You just like channeled some other fucking person.
You know who else
It's
said that?
amazing.
That's
It
Mamelta.
was awesome. What?
She
It
has
doesn't-
an electric car.
Oh,
Is it-
Mamelta.
Mamelta.
It's not really a coffin.
And also, she was press ganged into it, wasn't she? She didn't really say, "I want an electric coffin." She was
No.
told, "You're getting in that electric coffin."
Yeah.
It's an awkward name.
Mamelta?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
That's a saint.
Oh, okay, yeah, because she's not from.
She's from the last book.
She's from the last book.
Yeah.
Mamalita.
Mamelta.
All right.
yeah,
Well,
I
I'd
think
say we're done.
Evolved sufficiently to call it end.
Join us
All right.
next time.
I mean, you get